Gaming news today is all about updates. First, Cyberpunk is getting a huge update for the PS5 Pro. I took the time to watch the 27-minute breakdown from Digital Foundry to pull out the highlights for you. And I was going to check it out today, but I've decided it really isn't something worth putting on the channel. It is good to see them doing this, but there's not much really to do other than look at the pretty reflections and the ray tracing. So I will, though, have a timestamp for that section of this video where I talk about everything Digital Foundry said, but I will not be diving in just to walk around and look at reflections. Second, Bungie has responded to the cheating problem in Marathon, and while it feels a little late considering how long the problem has been brewing, you will be glad to know that they have plans beyond just this week. They seem to have long-term plans for the game with respect to the cheating. So if you've been experiencing cheating inside of Destiny, we have an update for you directly from Bungie. Third, there is a potential update about the Tomb Raider game, well, one of the Tomb Raider games, and it has to do about whether or not it will land this year. Now, if you're watching this later and you like this content, remember, hitting like helps out the video, and hitting subscribe will ensure you don't miss out on the content. Make sure your notification bell didn't get switched. That's been happening on YouTube. You can also help us with a pretty big goal. We've been trying to get to 600 paying members for a really long time. It's something that we like to do here as a way to celebrate, but also we have a Discord where you get to hang out and you're a part of the green room. So you can help us out with that by clicking join. For $5 a month, you get a badge and emotes and access to that members only Discord. So let's get into the first story. Well, the PS5 Pro continues to find itself in the crosshairs of developers wanting to update their games, and this time it's none other than Cyberpunk 2077. With 3 new modes added to the game, there is a host of new options and more ray tracing and fidelity for those who want it. Now, according to the Digital Foundry video that broke this down and has already had hands-on with this and has been able to test it, there are multiple modes that they looked at, and the first they looked at was the Ray Tracing Pro mode, which adds all available ray tracing enhancements with the exception of some reflections. Now, they compared this mode to a PC Ray Tracing Ultra 4K DLSS quality mode setting, and they said that while it did lack those reflections, it looked similar enough, and while it was not quite there, the image quality was quite good. What they meant by not quite there was it wasn't equal to the PC Ray Tracing Ultra 4K DLSS quality, but it was close, which is, I think, a big achievement for those of you that like Cyberpunk and are preferring to play on your couch on the PS5 Pro. Now, this turned into learning that this game does use the new PSSR, and they said over there at Digital Foundry that it is sharper, smoother, and cleaner in just about every way. Now, Ollie did state that the lingering problem of pop-in remains in Cyberpunk. If you're driving around, you will notice that. Just things in the distance. Popping in is something that this game continues to do. No matter how much better you get and smooth over those textures and image quality, pop-in is still noticeable according to the boys over there at Digital Foundry. Now, keep in mind that the Ray Tracing Pro mode is locked at 30 FPS due to the amount of ray tracing that is turned on. But this mode does offer an option to target 40 FPS if you have a 120 Hz monitor or television. Ollie said this option was overall stable with some dips in the more intense scenes where there was like a car and explosions and fire, but it didn't seem to be that bad at all. Overall, it held. Now, they also discussed the ray tracing mode. This mode offers less of the ray tracing in order to hit a target of 60 FPS. This mode has a very solid image quality and performance with some drops in Dogtown as well as some tearing. Now, from their footage, it was hitting like mid to high 50s. VRR could help, they said, but these are areas, according to Alex, that struggle on basically any machine. Even PCs don't like some of these sections of Cyberpunk. And he said he would likely use this mode as it features ray tracing, but it also has the 60 FPS target. Then there is the performance mode, which hits 4K resolution with the new PSSR, and this is a very stable FPS at 60, but if you use VRR to uncap the frame rate, it seems to target 90 FPS with drops into the 70s in those more dense areas. Now, this is for folks who don't want the ray tracing, but they want more frames or just a higher resolution in general. This is essentially the classic performance mode. Like none of the ray tracing, it's not really set out to do that. Now, lastly, it has an FSR PSSR toggle now in the game, and they thought that the PSSR looked so much better that they would advise never toggling it to the game's FSR 2.1. Now, they theorized maybe this option was made at a time when FSR 2.1 might have had trade-offs versus PSSR 1, but with PSSR 2.0 available now, it, quote, looks a heck of a lot better than PSSR 1, according to Alex of Digital Foundry. Now, they concluded that overall, this is a good set of upgrades, and they also theorized that we might see future updates to this game once the PlayStation 6 is in circulation as well. So my thoughts are that this is exactly what Mark Cerny was hoping for with the PS5 Pro, a measure of forward compatibility and updates and increasing both the value of the PS5 Pro, but also their relationship with Sony between developers. In light of Hiroki Totoki's recent remarks earlier this year about wanting PlayStation to be not just the best place to play for the users, but also the best place to publish, this is another great move to that end. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter as well. So let's get into the Bungie cheating situation. They've responded, but there's more developments that I'm not even going to be able to necessarily cover in this show open that we're going to be looking at. Apparently, they have other tests coming, other modes that they'll be testing, and we will take a look at that as well. So in the wake of the growing outcry and cheating in Marathon, Bungie took to Twitter to post a lengthy reply to the situation, and they mentioned something that I honestly didn't think that they would speak to, but first, they reiterated that they have a zero-tolerance policy, and they stated that they are actively banning confirmed cheaters. They also said they are expanding their telemetry and detection methods to better catch those cheaters. Now, according to their post, more improvements will be rolling out in the coming weeks. Now, in the coming weeks is not the greatest comfort to all of the people that are facing cheaters every day and have been for the past few weeks. One such claim was that when they were in the ranked mode, somebody played 14 games in a row where they encountered blatant cheaters. They also said that they are working on their reporting tools for cheating or toxic behavior. They made it easier to flag suspected cheaters on their web tools. They're improving how to report harassment and other code of conduct violations. They're also exploring an option to send you in-game mail if they follow up on somebody that has been reported by you and they want to let you know that they did something. Now, when it comes to voice and communications, they're investing in better voice chat moderation to help the reliability. They want to reliably act against people who abuse proximity or team chat. But they did mention something that I didn't think that they would really speak to. They talked about stream sniping. They said that we know stream sniping is a real pain point, especially in ranked. We're working with our trust and safety and design teams on better in-game protections like name privacy options. So while this doesn't really create an immediate sense of confidence, it does seem that they have longer-term plans to deal with this. Now, that doesn't really bode all that well, though, in light of the player numbers getting lower and lower every week. They have now hit a new record low and continue to hit record lows. The player decline just simply has not slowed down. Just over the week before maintenance hit, they had 4 straight hours of about 8,000 concurrent players on Steam, and they dipped to 8,000 players again last night on Steam. And this is where we have heard from sources at Bungie telling Forbes this is where most of the players have purchased the game, and this is where most of the player base lives. Getting that low will really start to hurt your ability to matchmake. More and more players are reporting long matchmaking times as well as laggy matches. Now, this tends to increase the speed with which people will leave the game because it's hard to play it, and then it's even hard to have a good time, like if that's going on. I've said this in my previous coverage, that this makes the cheating worse because the shrinking core, well, these are your most dedicated players, and they're more likely to encounter the cheating, especially if they're going into those upper echelons of ranked. So hopefully, in the wake of the fans, or for the sake of the fans, Bungie can stamp out the cheating and come up with ways to improve the player counts, because if not, I just think the future of Marathon continues to look very dim, and we'll see how it plays out. But those are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. We also don't have great news if you were looking forward to Tomb Raider this year. Remember when we got 2 Tomb Raider announcements back-to-back? Well, in case you missed it or just maybe you forgot, the Game Awards last year had 2 trailers. One was for a remake of the hit 1996 Tomb Raider, and that's announced to arrive in 2026. There was also an announcement for Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis at basically the exact same time. And while some of the trailer looked a little bit strange, like her face and some of the lighting, The action and the environments looked very good, I thought. It seemed like both of the games were an attempt to get back to the roots of Tomb Raider. Well, the same Twitter account that rightly predicted the remake announcement is now sharing info about the release timing of Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. Raiders Society took to Twitter on April the 6th, and they said the game is now rumored to be releasing in February of 2027. Now, they followed up and they said that they can't share any more info about their source for obvious reasons, which is why they marked the tweet a rumor and not a fact. Now, this sounds like they heard something concrete, but they don't want to put their source into any kind of jeopardy. That has been a growing concern and problem for folks who have contacts at companies. So take it with a slight grain of salt, but given their track record, I would actually trust this for now, and honestly, I think it's okay. Release a solid remake this year, and then you can take your time with a new entry and ship that next year. Don't do both at the exact same time or both within close proximity of each other. If you want a brand new Tomb Raider to really kind of rejuvenate the game and the franchise and to put it back on track, I would do exactly what they're doing, the remake this year, and then make a really, really great new installment for next year. But those are just my thoughts, and now it's time to hear your thoughts. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Welcome into the show. Thank you so much for being here. A variety of not great news, to tack on here. We also have seen that the 007 First Light game has been delayed indefinitely for the Switch 2. I said, I don't know, a week or two ago that was going to be a continued theme this year, that we were going to see more and more games delayed for the Switch 2. Third-party games especially, I think, are going to struggle over there. I'm really, really concerned about how well Elden Ring's going to run, and then that very, very strange and peculiar FromSoft exclusive, Duskbloods, I think will also struggle to run over there. So we've got some people to thank. Let's get the goal up and running. And Kingslayer kicked the day off with a renewal for 23 months on November Plus is howdy from Texas. And then Joker Quinn, Han shot first, and so did you, the first gifted member of the day. And then DK Bager. The tag team champions who like to do single gifteds are back in the saddle. And a 5-bomb on Twitch from Wired Rope is going to get us to 99. And Sal is going to land the plane for YouTube. We are on Wednesday and we're at 100. We are well behind pace. We will see if you guys can bounce it back on the second half of the week to unlock that Saturday night stream with Madam. 007 delayed. Wait, is it delayed in general, or I thought it was just indefinitely delayed for the Switch 2? They've delayed the entire game. I thought that was just on that thing. I thought that game looked rough around the edges. Every time we've looked at it, I'm like, I don't know. Twitter's broken right now. Give me just a second. Oh, there we go. Now it's back. I don't think the delay is a big deal. Let me check my feeds here. 007 Lite for Switch 2 delayed to late this summer. The PS5, Xbox Series, and PC release date is May 27th. Are you just commenting on the Switch delay, or are you saying there is an official delay of the entire game? I'm not seeing that in my news feeds right now. There will be some Forza 6 previews arriving. They've already arrived, I believe, about 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Good morning, Trekkie. How are you? Good morning, Ganks. Guys, as you come in and say good morning, do also the good morning ritual of hitting that thumbs up button. Didn't they already delay it once? Wasn't Bond supposed to be out? Yes, the delay to May has already taken place, and I believe this is just for the Switch 2. Yes. And I like I said, I think that's going to be a continued trend with the Switch 2. With third-party games. I think what happened is everybody saw the success of the Switch 1, and they're like, we really want to make sure that we're on the Switch 2, and because they're all trying to get on the Switch 2, I think they're struggling. I think they're struggling to get it to run well. I think they're struggling to get it to work. Now, we are streaming vertical today. I've been given a beta to test here, and I'm supposed to be able to change the layout through the dashboard, but I think they said you can't use AV1, or they encouraged you not to. I'm going to see if I can get it to work. If you guys are finding me through the short shelf, I'm supposed to be able to stream vertical and then adjust the layout with YouTube instead of my software, and that is not the case, so that's not working right now. I don't know if I want to switch off AV1 to stream vertical. We'll see how it goes today. We'll see if we don't see an uptick in meeting new people and bringing them over to the live show. And, keep hitting the like button. That'll definitely help us find more folks. If Cyberpunk can run on a Switch 2, Well, I mean, the question is, how well does Cyberpunk run on the Switch 2? How long has Cyberpunk been out? And how much work did CD Projekt Red to figure out how to get Cyberpunk to run on weaker hardware, given the way that it launched and given the old systems that they pushed it out onto? I definitely think that's a very, very different game and different scenario. Short shelf, yeah, like if you watch shorts on YouTube, they've added a thing where you can stream as I'm streaming to you right now like this, and they'll simultaneously send it over there to the shorts to see if we can't meet new folks, and it'll be vertical, it'll be this center area. No Man's Sky just added Pokemon battles. Love how everyone is now taking a piss at Nintendo. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Neo Reaper. Yeah, I wonder, is that what the stadium was for? Sean Murray kept tweeting about a stadium. He kept tweeting the stadium icon. It runs well on the Switch 2. Yeah, again, I don't think Cyberpunk is an indication of anything and what the Switch 2 is capable of, right? I'm here to tell you, if you're going to go the route of blaming the devs for delaying their games on Switch 2, I mean, you're going to sound an awful lot like another audience that is largely motivated people to not put games on their system. So you want to do hashtag blame the devs, I mean, you go right ahead. I think it's a terrible strategy of response to when developers are delaying their games. I love how they're playing on like the chessboard from Star Wars. So No Man's Sky Xeno Arena, creature battling, 100 plus abilities, genetic experiments, multiplayer arenas, alien trainers, tactical combat, breed creatures, medals and titles, more pets, creature survey mode, daily challenges, guidance missions, arena ranks, and exclusive pets. I mean, No Man's Sky is just doing whatever the heck they want at this point. They're like, hey, we just decided to do this, just because we can. I mean, did they know that the patent wasn't going to stick? I mean, maybe they were following the story. I don't know. This does seem pretty on the nose. I'll use the same narrative to say that's why we can't use it as a benchmark for GTA 6 on the PS5. GTA 6 on the PS5. Oh, you're saying Cyberpunk is not a benchmark for GTA 6 on the PS5? I mean, no, it isn't. I mean, it is I think the fact that GTA 6 is being made by a company that consistently goes back to their old games and tries to boost performance is an indication that they're going to try. I still think it's going to be pretty inelegant. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake could anchor PS5 summer with a reveal next week. We're also hearing about a state of play that's supposed to be happening in the coming weeks. It sounds like they're going to be doing one before their usual late May, early June one that they do. So, yeah. It's clearly a shot at Nintendo losing the patent. Discord muted. What? I swear to you, I clicked to undeafen and it re-deafens itself. I don't know how that happens. That's reading way too much into the tea leaves. I'm not sure what you're responding to. They're making Light No Fire. They're using No Man's Sky to test things out. I don't know if Xeno Arena is testing out things for Light No Fire. I mean, it's like a tabletop battler with creatures. Like, I'm not really sure if that's something that they're going to be doing for Light No Fire. Do they not want money? They can focus on their new game, Light No Fire. I don't understand what you're saying. What do you mean, do they not want money? No Man's Sky is going to be Star Citizen before Star Citizen. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. It being a shot at Nintendo. I don't think it's a shot at Nintendo. That type of an update inside of No Man's Sky has been around for such a long time. Paul, thank you for 45 months. I appreciate it. Bumping us to 101. Yeah, I don't think so. I would imagine that maybe they got sparks of ideas from Pal World and decided, hey, that could be pretty good to put something inside of our game. He means this. Yeah. This is the official announcement here. 007 Lite comes to PlayStation 5, Series X and S, and PC on May 27th, and Nintendo Switch 2 later this summer. We're excited to see players discovering James Bond Reimagine's origin story. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't necessarily think that they're taking a shot at Nintendo. There's no way they built something like this that quickly. The news of the patent being rejected in the U.S. is like a week old. I highly doubt that Hello Games was like, quick, let's make Xeno Arena. Now, if you think potentially, again, they could have looked at Pal World and thought, hey, we could do something like that. We have creatures, we have alien, being things. We could do something like that, and it'd be like a sign of solidarity with, Pocket Pair, as well as just the industry in general, to be like, screw you, Nintendo, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake announcement is planned for Thursday, April the 16th, according to Insider Gaming. According to internal documentation obtained by Insider Gaming, if it does not go public, the game is scheduled to release Q2 of fiscal year 2027, which is anywhere from June to August of what? June to August of this year. Fiscal year 2027. Oh, Q2 of fiscal year 2027. My brain was having such a hard time calculating that. I was like, what the frick are they talking about? Like, how is that this year? It's because the fiscal year starts, basically, it's already started. It's pretty in-depth battle system as well. They probably had it in the vault but didn't release it due to fear of being sued. I mean, maybe. What's good, Berto? No Man's Sky is a monster of a game with all the updates since launch. Amazing free DLC. Yo, what's good, Perfect Image? No Man's Sky is saying, catch me outside. How about that? Yeah, I catch the monsters outside. Oh, these jokes are terrible. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think it's good to see more and more games basically saying, you can't stop this, Nintendo. Like, more and more people are going to make games like this. You created a bit of a Streisand effect with going after Pal World, and if developers and studios kind of across the gamut of developers are like, yeah, we'll do something like that, we'll make a game like that, it stands to reason that it's harder to sue everybody. I mean, Nintendo's pretty litigious, but yeah. In any case, I struggle with No Man's Sky as like being one of the biggest and best games I simply don't have time for. Like, it's absolutely insane how enormous that game is. I don't think Madam and I would have fun with it. Like, the way we had fun with Pal World, I don't see us doing that. Like, we got 40 hours out of Pal World. We'll probably go back. We're still very much hooked on Sworn. Not Scorn, but Sworn. We can now consistently get to King Arthur and kill him, so we're working on all the various achievements. Not achievements, but there is a correct way to kill him, and we're going to try to do that eventually. We're right now just grinding for the currency to max out all the skill trees. We're having a really good time with it. It doesn't seem worth it to increase the difficulty. You get like 10% more currency, but like the difficulty spikes quite a bit, and we didn't die. It just wasn't very fun. Lono's brain when trying to math that out. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. The game's scheduled for fiscal year 2027 Q2, and then I see June to August of this year, and I'm like what? But that would be the second quarter of that fiscal year, of that fiscal period. This is also why it's such a gamble with Lawfare to engage with. They often don't have a legit case that would stand up to court, and once you lose, it's open season. Right, they drew attention to the fact that, like, hey, not only is there a huge market for these types of games, but we don't have to worry about getting sued now. I wish one of the emulators had the finances to actually go to court with them, but I don't think they would ever go to trial. Are you playing Pragmata Day 1? I will be playing Pragmata Day 1. I'm very much looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I think Pragmata shares a release date with something else, doesn't it? It gets crazy. I believe, isn't next week replaced Mouse PI and Pragmata, or is Pragmata the week after? I can't even remember anymore. It's just absurd. What's going on with the game releases. Like, it's about to heat up. Now, today, Samson goes into early access today, which I think that game's been pretty popular. We probably should have planned to check that out. I was going to check out the update to Cyberpunk, but when I watched the Digital Foundry video, I was like, there's no reason for me to stream this. Like, this is cool that they're doing this, but like, I'm not going to boot up the game to be like, ooh, look at the pretty lights and reflections, and I'm getting 60 FPS. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Like, it didn't seem like something that I wanted to spend my afternoon doing. I mean, like a 10-minute live stream. In any case, it's cool that they did the update to Cyberpunk, but it just didn't seem like anything that we would spend a minute of time with. There's also Morbid Metal today. the releases website is being terrible. Like, the format is awful. There we go. I had to zoom out. It's like I couldn't see anything. Yeah, so today you've got Samson, and then you got Morbid Metal, Pokemon Champions as well on Switch 2. The rest of these I've not really heard of. The Occultist seems familiar, but I've not heard of that one. I'm pretty sure next week is the week that we have like a bunch of things hitting at almost the exact same time. Let's see. Yeah, the 14th is Replaced. Also, when Hades 2 comes to the other consoles, it's currently only available on PC and Switch 2. And then the following day is something, I thought. Oh, no, it's 2 days later, isn't it? Yeah, the 16th is Mouse PI. Okay, so next week's pretty solid week. And then Pragmata is the 17th. Okay, so good. It looks like they're not all on the exact same day, so we should be able to cover and play all those games next week, at least as long as everything goes according to plan with releases. It seems like everything's good to go. Replaced did a slight delay, but they've consistently been tweeting and pushing out their announcements about how they are coming 1 week from today. CP77 Sharper Resin stuff. The game is regular like 17 pounds. Very impressed that they did the free Pro update. Yeah, the boys at Digital Foundry feel like there's going to be another update as well. That it'll be the other update will likely land when they, the PS6 is in the wild. You playing Morbid Metal today? No. What does the rest of your shirt say? It just says I have issues, like way down at the bottom. You're never going to be able to see it. I'm not standing up and modeling for you. It's not that kind of stream. But yeah, it says I have issues. Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred, the 26th. Super excited for all the changes they are making. I've thought about going back and booting that game up with Madam to see what we think. But I don't know. I'm not in the mood for that. We like Sworn a lot, which, it's basically the Hades style, like Rogue. I don't know if we'd want to do like a dungeon crawler with like a whole thing with respect to like there's a campaign and you've got a really big skill tree and stuff like that. Invincible, I'm putting a lot of hours into that. Is that any good? I'm hoping Replaced ends up being an amazing game. I have maintained that Replaced is going to be the indie darling this year. Now, the indie darling category is getting really stuffed because we have Mugenics, we have Slay the Spire 2, and then we have Replaced coming. I don't think Racoin is gonna really be as earth-shattering as Balatro, but I think the indie darling category is really full this year. Like, it's going to be really, really hard. I was like, dude, I think Replaced is going to be that game. It's going to be the game that everybody talks about as special and, a gem. And I don't know. I said it's going to be like Expedition 33. Now, I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year, like, to that degree. But I feel like it's going to be this year's game like that, where people talk about it in ways that are, very, very glowing. Silk Song's free DLC will go hard. Hey, bro, how do you do? Hello, how are you? I told you, Samson. Yeah, I forgot Samson was today. It fell off my radar. The Cyberpunk thing hit. I installed the game. I reinstalled the game on my PlayStation 5 Pro, and then I was getting everything ready for this morning, and I was like, there's no reason for me to stream this. Like, it's cool that they did it, but, when does the marathon glazing start? Thank you for the $2 super chat. Yeah, that guy is from another timeliner. He doesn't know what glazing means. He was like, here's another marathon glazing stream. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Mouse PI is definitely going to do well. Yeah, Mouse PI is looking really, really cool. That one had a little bit of a delay as well, I think, and so it's landing very, very close in proximity to Replaced. Not sure that they meant to do that. Two little potential indie darlings kind of stepping on each other. What's good, Nick Shot? Good to see you. I feel that Obscure 33 got boned? In what way? I'm not sure what you mean. How did it get boned? Claire Obscure Expedition 33 cleaned up like every category it landed in? It arguably won a category that it probably shouldn't have. I'm not sure what you mean. Hope all is well. Doing about as well as we can, Nick. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Bumble Pants, for hitting a 3-stream streak over there. Is Mouse PI a shooter? Yes, it's basically like old-timey Steamboat Willie art style, and yes, it is a first-person shooter. I didn't even realize there was a replaced demo. I'll check it out later today on my break. The demo is quite good. It is. It's very, very good. The game is just a vibe. Yes, the Eternal Life of Goldman looks very good. The first time I saw that, I wish-listed it. I'm so glad more people are taking notice of it. It kind of has like a Cuphead animation style, not the art style. Like the way it's animated, like almost like a Saturday morning cartoon, makes me feel it's reminiscent of Cuphead, but it's not like old-timey like Cuphead. Very, very cool. Very, very cool game. Enjoyed the demo when I played it. Are we talking about the best RPG or best indie? Because I don't think it should have been in either of those. You'd have to convince me why it shouldn't have been in the indie category. It's a cross between Cuphead and Ori. Yeah, it feels like it's kind of borrowing from those two games. I have been meaning to go back to Cuphead and beat it. I think a 90 FPS mode is too dangerous, says Derek. You will play it, and then 60 FPS games will suddenly give you headaches. That's right. That's really why I'm avoiding playing it, Derek. I don't want to soil my eyeballs. Good morning, Sneaky Platypus. I know your feelings on Crimson Desert. I bought it and I'm hooked. It's got its issues. What do you think my feelings are towards Crimson Desert? Because I have a lot of people that think they know what I think about that game, and it's like, that's not what I think about that game. It is interesting. Bellular put out a really good video about it and was basically like, it's not the Second Coming. It's just an okay game that people love. And he's like, we need to be okay with games coming out and not being the Second Coming. And he's like, their PR tried to warn people it wasn't the Second Coming. And I was like, yeah, not really. There was like an interview where he said that, but it's like your marketing and the hype machine, you don't get to take like one interview and act like they were trying to downplay their game. That is not true at all. I like Bellular, but I was like, that interview is fine, but they were really hyping the heck out of that game. They were not trying to downplay it at all. Like, not at all. It's a good game. People like it. They're doing good improvements. All of those things can be true. It can also be true that they overhyped the heck out of it and they hid console footage from people and they were getting people to pre-order on a platform where it still doesn't run very well. Crimson Desert is a beautiful game and has a lot of cool things, but the control scheme is the worst control scheme I've ever played in 40 plus years of gaming. Yeah, I love Crimson Desert, but it's a high 7 or a very low 8. Yeah, it got scored appropriately. It still has an 82 globally on Steam. The review outlets were in close proximity to that score. I like when Bellular explained that when after the refunds go through, the scores get realigned and the score goes up. Yeah, I appreciated that he highlighted that because I kept telling people that. I was like, one of the reasons the score went up very quickly in the first 48 hours is because all the refunds cleared out. Noberto with 59 months, thank you so much. Here's another thanks for being part of my daily life. I appreciate it, Noberto. Yep, many years, brother. The other thing that I thought that Bellular said that made good sense was he said that as things go on, the score settles because a game finds its community. And I was like, that's actually pretty fair. That like a bunch of people that thought the game was going to be something that it wasn't, they all drift, refund, and don't play. And then everybody else is kind of locked in there, like loving the game. That it's basically a single player MMO that's scratching that MMO itch. But it doesn't have to be one where you're like online and playing with other people. I just knocked my Bluetooth down. I didn't want to move my chair because I was like, this is going to be one of those moments where I move my chair to find the little Bluetooth earbud and I'm just going to hear a crunch and then I'm going to be very, very sad. So it's not great on consoles with the controls. Yeah, I mean, the controls are obviously bad and they're still going to have to revise them. And then, performance is still just not very good on console. It's why they wouldn't let people see console footage. Like, that'll always be something I remind people of. It's like they kept saying we're not hiding anything, and it's like, no, you were in fact hiding because you didn't want to. And the response, I want to say something here. The response to my video about the fake trailer problem, This guy just replied to my tweet about it, and he said, Reforge has discovered CGI trailers for the first time. Welcome to the gaming industry. Welcome to making it just clear you didn't watch the video. Like, I love that people don't watch the video. Like, State of Decay 3's first trailer wasn't even made by the studio, and the game didn't even exist. You being okay with that is extremely weird energy. Like, I find it strange. These 4 months in this year, I've been through being canceled. I've been through really hard years rebuilding my business, and the last 4 months have felt like 4 years. The last 4 months of 2026, I have felt a stronger desire to just quit than I've ever felt before. And let me explain what I mean. They're like, are you quitting? No. It's just so discouraging and so disheartening that holding companies accountable is now viewed as toxic, is now viewed as fanboyism, is now viewed as like some sort of tribalistic act. It's like, this is exhausting. Like, I thought ABK coverage was bad. That was a circus show compared to the last 4 months. 2026 has been, I think, the most bewildering, most frustrating time that I've ever experienced in covering gaming. And I almost lost everything in 2020. But this has taken the cake. It's been like, what has happened? What happened as we crossed over into 2026? It's like we jumped into a new timeline where half of you are perfectly okay with being lied to, with being misled, with being shown things that aren't real or fake or made up. It's like you've just drunk down the guzzle of Kool-Aid while like, just lie to me, daddy energy. I don't get it at all. It doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. It was like from High Guard to this moment right now, whether it's the Crimson Desert situation or the Marathon situation or the High Guard situation, or pointing out what we learned about State of Decay 3 and the fact that people will attack you for doing that. It's like, why all of a sudden is trying to hold studios, games, companies, and publishers, why is that suddenly wrong to do? It's like the world's upside down. It's like being truthful and accurate and holding companies accountable is now viewed as like toxic, or that you're the bad guy. And it's like, what the heck happened? We used to rage at this. Gamers used to rage at the fake trailers, at the misleading marketing, at the bill of goods style of overpromise. We used to get upset about this, and now we're just like, no, lie to me, daddy. Show me fake trailers and fake gameplay and obfuscate and hide things, and then just, here's my money. It's like, what the heck? It is so disheartening. It's like, what are we doing? I'm banging on the drum of we should not accept this. We should not accept this style of marketing. We should not accept this style of dishonesty. And people are like, well, but because I'm a fan of the game or the studio, or because I like the publisher or the company, it's okay. It's like, no, the video that I made about the State of Decay thing has nothing to do with CGI trailers. I don't care about CGI trailers. There were people that were responding. They were like, oh, you mean like this? And it was like the Wolverine trailer. And I'm like, the video is not about cinematic trailers. You're allowed to do cinematic trailers. That doesn't bother me at all. You can do a cinematic trailer and be like, hey, here's our game. But it's like, somebody even left a comment on the State of Decay 3 video. And he was like, this reminds me of the situation with Avowed. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should have included that one too. That's another game where like your trailer, it has nothing to do with the final product. Like not even remotely. Like the original Avowed trailer to what shipped. Like Eloy was going to be this crazy, forward-thinking, next-gen kind of Skyrim game, and that's not what shipped. And that's not what they ended up making. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if the same thing happened with Avowed. It was like, hey, we need a trailer. Give us a trailer. Mikey says, keep doing this, though. We sensible people come to you for the honest truth. Please don't ever change. Avowed was my comment. Yeah, MGene. I was like, I should have included that in the video. That's another trend from that company. Every time they do a showcase, it's like, what in the world? Why'd you remove the Reforge Gaming and logo stuff from the wall behind you? I didn't remove them. I just put up these like magnetic pieces of foam. Whenever I stream with my wife, the display started to mess things up, and I just decided once we started putting like shelving and like, you know, Lego sets and stuff behind me, I was like, I don't feel like messing with this every week, so I just left them up. You got to be that light in the midst of the darkness. I mean, we don't need to be that hyperbolic about being light in the darkness here. It's just like, it has been absolutely bewildering to me that being vilified and attacked and maligned for merely trying to point out the truth. It's like, what in the world? We're talking about video games. We're not talking about religion or politics or anything like that. We're talking about video games, man. What is the deal? It's just been so disheartening to see, you know, truth and accuracy just continually devalued and attacked. It's like, okay, you know, I guess just continue to enjoy being lied to. I don't know. Snobbery in video games is no different from other hobbies, recreation, car culture, sports teams. No. I'm not talking about snobbery. This isn't snobbery. This is something different. This is like, stop. It's like people are plugged in to a delusion and they don't want you to wake them up from it. And when you do, they get really upset. And it's like, you know, they get angry and they attack you. Stop pointing out the truth, especially when it makes me look bad, I guess. Have you seen the new Forza Horizon 6 prologue footage? No, I mean, I'm assuming it looks phenomenal. That's not really my bag. I'm excited for the people that are going to play it, but that's not really for me. This might sound silly. You going to try out Pokemon Champions? Your question doesn't sound silly. I mean, I'm not going to play it though. Yeah, not for me. I have a laundry list of games I'm looking forward to, and that's not the thing. Jay Hart with a $2 super chat says, I just remembered Everwild did the same thing. Yeah, the pattern to me has gotten to like absurd levels. It's like Everwild did it, Avowed did it, State of Decay 3 did it, the Perfect Dark did it. It's like every time these guys go to do a showcase, they're like, hey, we need a trailer. Can you make a trailer? It doesn't matter if the game's in production. It doesn't matter if you even have an art mood board established yet. Just make a trailer. And then what you end up with is like what happened with State of Decay 3. There were people commenting on my video, which I'm usually like annoyed when a video doesn't do well. I'm hyper annoyed that video's not doing well. It's like, this is super important to get out there that like there is a clear and present pattern here. Like they are consistently putting out these types of trailers, and then the end product is nothing like it. There were guys commenting on the video. They were like, I've been following State of Decay 2. He's like, I don't know what they've been doing. He's like, there hasn't been substantive content in that game for a long time. So I don't know why they're saying most of the team has been working on State of Decay 2. He's like, I don't know what they've been doing. He's like, what have they been doing? This is a fan of State of Decay that was saying this. This isn't me saying this. Lono Secret outrageous thing. Forza Horizon 6 previews are only in 30 FPS. That's not all that abnormal. I don't know why we're still doing this. We haven't really gotten out of this threshold where early looks and previews and trailers are 30 FPS. I don't get it at all. I mean, we're all now on devices with better screens and refresh rates. I don't get why we're continuing to do marketing at 30. It makes no sense to me. It arguably looks bad. I mean, I think more and more people are starting to pick up on like, well, why is this trailer at 30? I don't really understand it. When the dust settles and the honeymoon period ends with these shady games, they'll be right back to tell you that you were right. The victory laps will come in time. Oh, no, it's actually been the opposite, Mike. The being right is a curse because the people that come around during all your coverage to be like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, and then the thing comes out, they don't come back because they're like, I'm not going to go back there and eat crow. Who wants to do that? Are you going to do that? Are you going to go back to some guy's podcast show, radio show, or channel if you were wrong to be like, yeah, sorry, man, I was wrong? No, you're not going to do that. I mean, there was a trickle of them that thought I was wrong about Crimson Desert, but they gave up because it was clear. It was like they're having to do such a mountain of updates. Every warning I uttered, every caution that I threw up there was completely legitimate. It was well in line with exactly how the game launched. It didn't launch to uproarious praise and high review scores from the users. It had very tepid and low scores and has slowly improved because they're basically getting it to its shippable state. I mean, they should have. I'm not going to rebake that cake, but they should have done early access for that game. You know, they should have done early access for that game. They won't come back. They'll double down. I'm eating crow. I thought Marathon was going to be big on console. Well, and I appreciate and respect that, Neo Reaper, but the vast majority of people aren't going to do that. You know, I was actually going back and watching. All of the Marathon coverage. You can literally look at my Marathon uploads, and you can watch the public's care diminish. All of my videos that are like in close proximity to the showcase and the alpha, great viewership. As the year goes, the viewership on every video goes down. The videos are fine. They're timely. They're sensible. They're contextual. The public, you can literally track the public's lack of disinterest just looking at my videos. It's just like this. And somebody's like, "Oh, well, you know, you're that's just your videos." No. That's just the videos in general. You can go look at anybody covering this, anybody talking about this, with the exception of maybe like one or two creators. All of their Marathon content is just getting diminished engagement. The public just, I'm telling you, that game died last year. It did. That game died last year. It's gonna die this year, but it died last year. I mean, that's when it actually happened. I've been waiting for Crimson Desert review for PS5, and I've decided to buy or not, and I thank you for not pre-ordering. Well, I appreciate that. We had this for Starfield, though, says Mikey. Such glaze. People will now finally concede that it's mid. You'll get the truth out of them nowadays. Well, a lot of people maintain that Starfield is like one of the greatest games ever. That's fine. They can think that. And, you know, they can clock hundreds of hours in the game. You know, good for them. It's doing well on PlayStation. It's doing well. It has almost 2,000 scores. It's got a 4.6. It has a 92% on PlayStation. You know? 60 FPS goes a long way, you know, to get people to be like, hey, this is a pretty good game, especially Bethesda fans. Bethesda fans have been waiting for it. You know, it's in a better state. They've done a lot of good stuff for it. And, you know, former Resident Evil Witcher devs unite in a stylish new action-adventure game on PS5. What is this? This is called Koshmar. Koshmar, The Last Reverie is what this is called. I love Starfield. I have nothing against people that love Starfield. I can't do it. Oh, this looks good. This is a really cool vibe to it. It's kind of like South of Midnight and Cana, Bridge of Spirits a little bit. Like it's a similar like camera, little bit of Sea of Thieves there too with the art style. Okay. I saw some, was that my browser or is that frame issues in the game? Hang on a second, let's just go back. Oh, like a frame issue. Nope, that was my browser. This looks kind of cool. This is just an announcement trailer, so probably not coming out this year. You can wishlist it. We have once again found ourselves in a game with a female protagonist who has some kind of a power on her hand. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but boy oh boy, we keep getting these games. I mean, I think this looks fun, and I think the combat looks pretty dope. But I don't know where that came from. So you can wishlist that now on Steam. Koshmar, The Last Reverie. That game is coming from former Resident Evil Witcher devs working on that game. The studio that makes up industry veterans across games like Resident Evil, Witcher 2, Rainbow Six Extraction, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. What's it called? Yeah. Yeah. I think it looks good. I just, it's like we have a lot of these games where they're like, and the lead character is a young woman, okay? And her power comes from some mystical thing that's going to attach to her hand. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, listen, dude, I liked Kane of Bridge of Spirits. I mean, I guess hers was a staff, but didn't they say Wolverine info in spring? So there are rumors about a PlayStation State of Play coming in the coming months. There are rumors. So it could be a Wolverine State of Play. I'm kind of confused on why they would do that, but hey, they've got new leadership, and the new leadership might have different ideas about how to handle the marketing. There is the possibility. Man, my stinking chats keep resizing themselves. I need to put that app on my gaming rig, the one that combines the chats. I still have my chats not combined. I need to do that today. It's driving me nuts. For games like Dark Horror Vibe, it's good to go with the female protagonist, much like horror movies. Horizon Zero Dawn did it best. I mean, I don't necessarily think that game is Horizon Zero Dawn adjacent. It's not like open world action adventure. It seemed like more of like the set piece style, where you move from set piece to set piece, like, closed environments. Horizon Hunters Gathering continues to put out marketing tweets. Let's see how it's going for them. Yeah, they don't even have 3,000 followers yet on Twitter, and they've got videos on Twitter that are days old they can't even crack. They're barely on some of these videos cracking 7,000, 6,000 views. That again is another game I just don't think the public's paying any attention to. I just don't. After a Sorrow State of Play, you think there's going to be a Sorrow State of Play? I mean, I felt like what they would do is they would let Wolverine own the summer. Like, they would walk out with their typical State of Play that they do, like, right before the Summer Game Fest starts. They usually do a State of Play, like, end of May, early June. And I figured they would do the Spider-Man 2 thing. They would be like, hey, here's 20 minutes of Wolverine, or here's 10 minutes of Wolverine, or something like that. I think Horizon Gathering is going to bomb. I think they should cancel it. I don't even think they should bring it out. I think it's going to be bad for one of their most valuable properties. I think PlayStation's in an impossible position, because if they become known for just canceling live service games, well, then you're not going to have a whole lot of confidence in their live service games. But launching a live service game that fails, I think, is worse. Like, to me, people will forget that, like, well, they did that Horizon Hunters thing, they got feedback, and they ultimately decided that it wasn't worth making. Okay, that's not that big of a deal. If it launches and doesn't do well, and then it eventually dies, or they have to kill it, that's actually worse. Like, where's your confidence level going to be in a PlayStation live service game if they keep shipping games that make it like a month, like a week, like people keep saying that Marathon is not Concord, and I'm like, brother, they dropped to 8,000 players again last night. You know what I mean? Trigger warning. Like, okay, it's not Concord, but PlayStation can't keep doing this with live service games. People will not have confidence in what you ship. They won't. You can't keep doing this. If you ship Horizon Hunters Gathering, I think it's going to get similar results. It'll just be consistent decline. I don't think it'll have a large start. It might have a slightly larger start than Marathon did, just because it's Monhunt adjacent in the Horizon IP, but I think it'll look exactly the same. It'll just be like that. A $5 super chat from Buttery Cheeks. Oh no, what do you predict the floor for Marathon will finally settle at? Also, do you think Sony will talk about it in the May investors call? I don't know. Here's the problem about the floor. You can't find the floor if you're perpetually declining. They hit 8,000 players last night. You're going to get to the point where people can't play during off-peak hours. And when that happens, it's just mass exodus. People will just stop playing. You're not going to put up with it. Like, gamers will. What's crazy is I went back. I recorded the clip so that I could show you guys. I literally said a year ago, roughly 10 months ago, I said, I think one of the possibilities is this game comes out and within 2 to 4 weeks, we will clearly see that it doesn't have a big enough audience. I literally said that last year, 10 months ago. I said roughly 2 to 4 weeks after it comes out, that's a distinct possibility that we're going to be like, there's just no audience for this. And it's just like, well, where's the floor? It's like, I don't know where the floor is, because if you get too low, the floor becomes impossible. A game like this can't survive. Like, at its current trajectory, in a couple of weeks, off-peak hours, it's going to be in like the 4,000 to 5,000s on Steam, and that's where most of the players are. The game won't function at that point. That's not enough people. What advice would you give the new art director for Marathon? He could change a lot. Art direction is not going to change anything. John Rodriguez with a $5 super chat. I played Hunter's Gathering. It was fun, but it's not going to pull me away from Marvel Rivals and the other games coming out loaded this year. Here's the thing about Horizon Hunter's Gathering, John. It literally looks like a game that you would play for like a weekend and be like, that was kind of fun, but that would kind of be the end of it. Like, I can't imagine looking at that game, looking at the art style, and looking at a cast of heroes and being like, oh no, yeah, you're totally going to get people hooked. Now, when I look at the Horizon MMO on mobile, I'm like, that's a game that would hook people. You have your own character. There's all the different armor and all the different tribes and all the different people you can interact with. And then you can go out into the world and you can fight. And Horizon Hunter's Gathering looks like some disposable hero-based mobile game. It's like, who's going to play this long term? You're not in the game. Do you understand? This is something that we debated about before Marathon came out. I said, if you do like a cast of heroes, which people insisted it wasn't a hero shooter, sure, they're runners. Because you changed their name, that means they're different. Fine, whatever, right? It'd be like being like, no, these aren't football players. No. These are ball warriors. Pause. And you'd be like, well, they look an awful lot like football players, so what difference does it make? You can call them whatever you like. These are ballerinas. Like, okay. If you're not in the game from the very beginning, it's going to be hard for you to get into the game. Does that make sense? Like, that sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but I'm not. If from the very beginning of booting up the game, you're not in the game, it's not you, it's just some character that you're choosing to embody and control, I just think that's a giant hurdle to feel like, yes, I'm in this game. This is me. That's my character. Ball Warriors, I'm trademarking that before Nintendo. That's right, I would trademark that real quick. That'd be a great game. Your marketing could just be full of innuendo. That's a gold mine. Wired Rope says, if they made Horizon Hunters into Monhun, it had a chance. But right now, it's Fortnite round rogue with Monhun style fighting. It won't last. Yo, what's good, Bass Guru over there? Quirky Quoll says, Starfield's one of the greatest games ever, though. I don't think so. I don't think the user scores agree on any of the platforms except for maybe now PlayStation. I don't think there's anything great about it. I think people enjoy it, but I don't even think that I don't even know if I've interacted with people that enjoy it. I think it's like one of the greatest games ever. How did you not play Hunter's Gathering and know exactly how I felt about it after playing it? Are you asking me how I knew how you felt after playing it even though I didn't play it? Well, John, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm going to let you in on a little secret, John. I can see the future. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I was playing a video game one day, and Zubair said Lono has now crossed over from being goofy into taking it personal and wanting to succeed. And as he said it, I was like, oh, wow, I actually do that pretty regularly when I play games. And I was like, wait a minute, how do you know that I do that? And he was like, I've watched you for years. You pick up on patterns. That's pretty much the same thing that I do, but I do it with video games. You just see patterns. And these are real pattern recognitions, not like the fake grifting, they're making the women ugly pattern recognition. This is like real pattern recognition. It's like, listen, you've watched games like this attempts to come out long enough, you start to see where they're headed. Do you know what I mean? He gave the training day Denzel laugh. Like, it's true, I spend too much time here, right? Like, think of your favorite sport, okay? Think of your favorite sport. It could be golf, it could be baseball, it could be football. There are times where you know exactly what's going to happen, like right before it happens. Why? You've watched enough to know. You're like, this is about to be a double play. You know where the ball's going. You know how good this team's infield is. You know it's a double play. You know it's coming. You can see it before it happens, right? You can sense the touchdown before it happens sometimes. You see the guy break through, you know he's going to make it. You're like, no, they're not going to be able to get him. They're too spread, and he busted through that line like a freight train. Like, you can just sense it. You've watched enough of the sports to know. Like, there are times where you see a guy putt from 30 feet away, and you're like, oh, that's going in. You feel it. It's like you can feel it almost like it's like crackling in the air. You're like, oh, it's going in. It's some measure with games like this. I can just look at it and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I think this is kind of how it's going to go. This is how people are going to react. This is how people are going to describe it. This is generally how, people are going to respond, and what's the psychological response going to be to the gameplay loop, and, how's the player base number, how that player base number is going to look, and what have you. Go back to last year. Search my channel. Search Marathon. Watch every upload I did about Marathon last year. It's just bullseye after bullseye after bullseye. And it's not because I'm special. I'm not like some highly intelligent being that's like, I can see into the future. No, it's just like, yeah, I've done this enough to know like where this kind of game's going to land with the public. And what does that mean for your, for your trajectories and for your player base numbers? It's like gravity. It's funny how many times in those videos back then, how many times I talked about how every game comes out and then experiences that decline down to its floor. And I pointed to massive games. I pointed to very successful games like Helldivers 2 and Marvel Rivals. And I'm just like, look, this is the pattern. This is the pattern. This is the pattern. This is why the whole Steam charts thing really boggles my mind. Why it's so triggering, and why we have all these like armchair experts now that are like, yeah, well, the Steam charts don't really matter. We know the truth. And it's like, you do? What truth is it that you're aware of that the rest of us aren't? We've been watching games like this come out, and we watch those patterns and we watch those trajectories, and I mean, it's like gravity. It's like a force of nature. It's like, this is just what's going to happen. There's no ego in me saying this. I'm not like strutting around like, yeah, I got it right. It's like, no, it's just analysis of patterns within the way large groups of people interact with games like this. You can just see it. You can sense it. I don't know. I mean, I think covering Destiny all those years obviously helps, because I watched what that community did when a season would drop, when a DLC would drop, when an update would hit, when a meta would emerge, when a super was too strong, when a gun was too strong. I lived it. I breathed it. I baked bosses with you guys. I was like, I don't know. It's like you just sense where the water's going to go because you've just watched it happen. Leno had bullseye after bullseye with Destiny. That was when I knew this dude gets it. I mean, I appreciate that. That was, it was a different era of time, but it was similar in some regards. I got hated for calling the future. I got a lot of criticism. There were really big streamers that really didn't like me, and that was one of the reasons. 5 bomb from Ginger Prime gets us to 107. Thank you, Mr. Ginger. I think it's more the negative campaigning than anything else as Crowded House. The game is good. It's not perfect, but it's very good. The pain points are extremely fixable. All right, I want to interact with that. There's nothing going on in gaming news anyways, and this is one of the topics today, right? This is one of the topics today. Is Marathon. and the cheating and Bungie's response. So look, it's on the docket. Sorry for the people that are tired of hearing about Marathon, but there's nothing else really going on right now, and I actually think this is interesting things to talk about from a more zoomed out perspective. All right, yeah, I know. And Ginger and others have expressed that they feel like they're watching my old Destiny content with the Marathon coverage. Okay, I appreciate that. We can't stay here for forever though. I want to interact with what you're saying, Crowded House. The idea like people are negatively campaigning, right? Oh, Samson has a 53 on Metacritic. Oof. Early access. Hopefully they can turn that around. That's bad. I wonder what the issue is. Anyways, okay. So the negative campaigning. Okay. I was watching the videos from last year, sort of in the wake of the showcase, in the wake of the alpha. And I remember people being sort of on that wavelength of like, well, people are just hating the game. People just want to hate the game. People just like hating games. And it just all sounded very similar to me. It sounded eerily similar to when people just sort of reflexively rejected Highguard. And even the Highguard CEO, like they were just in denial about the fact that they made a game that nobody really wanted. In their one interview, the only time I saw that company take ownership was ownership over the marketing. They thought that the marketing didn't do a good job of conveying how good the game was. Now, I want you to listen to that very carefully. That is still a position that is just drunk on hubris. It's like, well, it's not the game's fault. We didn't build a bad game. The game is great. We just didn't do a good job conveying how great it actually is. And it's like, no. It would be like doing door-to-door sales, and you've got this Swiss Army hammer, and people can tell by looking at it that it's cheaply made and that it's going to fall apart. Any dude worth his weight in carpentry or construction is going to look at that Swiss Army hammer and go, that's a piece of junk. And if you conclude, no, the problem is I didn't do a good job pitching the Swiss Army hammer to you and conveying just how great it was, they'd be like, no, you don't seem to be in tune with reality. Nobody wants that thing, okay? And I don't think people are actively campaigning because they like to hate games. I think the market's responding to a product they don't want. That's all it is. Now, what gets mixed into this are there are people who are disingenuous. There are people who grift and hate. I mean, this has been my experience. I'll go 2 weeks and be like, we're taking a 2-week break from a topic. I've done this for years. I'm like, we're taking a break from that. I don't want to keep beating that dead horse. And we would take 2 weeks off. We would come back to the topic because something pertinent had happened. And people would come in and be like, all you do is talk about this. And I'd be like, we haven't talked about it for 2 weeks. Do you want to know what happened? They hadn't seen my content for 2 weeks because that's all they consume. They're out here on the defense force, and that's all they do. They consume negative content about their chosen thing, and they're just in the trenches battling it out. So when I finally show up on their feed, they view me through that lens. Yeah, all people are doing is hating. All you're doing is hating. You won't stop talking about this. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? There was a time where we spent a week talking about all these other things. We talked about Crimson Desert. We watched the Xbox thing. We reacted to trailers. We played games. And then we were like, okay, here, let's check in on Marathon. How's it doing after Cryo Archive? And I had people saying that to me. What's happening is their perception is reality. To them, that's all they know. That's all they're that's all they're consuming. The Sony Defense Force? Yeah, no, there are people that think that that's all I do. They're like, yeah, all you do is defend Sony. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was extremely critical and still am critical of them shutting down Bluepoint, of how they handled the PSN situation on PC, of how they handled communication there. I don't like how they've been doing some of their marketing. It irritates the fire out of me. I think they've been handling live service games in an incredibly stupid way. I think they should have taken ownership of the fact that they had Bluepoint working on a live service game all that time, and that was under their directive. They didn't make them, but that was their direction for the company. I think they should have taken accountability for that. That's me being critical of Sony. But they'll see a clip, they'll watch some other person's content where I'm like, I'm not going to call them greedy for this. I didn't call Xbox greedy for raising their prices. I don't use that kind of communication. I don't use that kind of vocabulary. And they're like, yeah, you're defending them. They view everything from their own perception. Like, they're not going to view it through the lens of like, well, maybe this isn't the only thing this person talks about. Let me watch their other content, or let me go and watch their other streams. No, they're only there in that moment. And that's all they see is like, hey, you're the 7th video I've watched today railing against Marathon. Man, that's all you do. And it's like, no, that's not at all true. You're pretty fair on both sides, usually, not always. I mean, if you feel like there's a situation where I wasn't fair, trot it out and argue it. You know, here's the difference between me and the people that say that. I say what I genuinely think, and they don't like it. They say what's prefab. It's almost like they have a script that they go by. They're going to use the same insults. They're going to use the same token phrases about me. They have like a pre-written script. I'm just telling you what I think. I don't have like a predetermined agenda. I'm just like, yeah, I don't really think these companies are quote unquote greedy. I think they all function under the exact same profit paradigm, and they're going to do exactly what needs to be done to protect their profits. I've said this for a very long time. We literally didn't cover when Xbox raised their prices on hardware. We literally didn't cover it. I was like, I'm not covering that. I don't care about that. I remember being in Green Room and I was like, we're going to get all tied up into talking about tariffs and talking about politics and talking about, oh, woe is me, everything's more expensive. And I was like, I don't want to talk about that. Like, I don't. And so we didn't. You even criticized Sony for the marketing of Crimson Desert. Yeah, I think Sony should have a whole lot more protection over their PlayStation YouTube channel. I think they should respect the trust that they have with their audience a whole lot more than they did. I think Sony 100% is partially accountable for the marketing of Crimson Desert. I don't think they should have allowed that. I don't think that you should allow 30 minutes of PC footage on the PlayStation channel. I think that's ridiculous. If there's like one quick trailer and that's all they have in their media kit, fine. But that was a concerted and organized effort to mislead the biggest console platform, and I thought it was ridiculous, and I don't think PlayStation should have allowed it. Arc Raiders update just made the robots more in numbers and more obnoxious, and people are acting like it's the greatest thing ever. They probably like the fact that it's creating some intensity. They probably just like that it has more intensity. I don't know. Spot on. They should have allowed digital refunds across the board. As far as I could tell, Wilco, they were being very, very flexible with refunds on Crimson Desert. PlayStation's notoriously terrible about refunds. That's another thing I've been critical about them with. I think their policy on refunds is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Oh, you downloaded the game. So the frick what? You can see how long I've played it. If I've played it for 0 minutes, I should be able to get my money back. They literally track all your playtime in the games that you download. I'm like, what do you mean I downloaded it? That doesn't mean anything. Sony should not allow any PC gameplay on their channel. You want your game shown on the channel, you have to show PS5 gameplay. I agree. I can't imagine Nintendo allowing that. Imagine Nintendo allowing that. Hey, yeah, come to the Nintendo channel. Yeah, here's a trailer for Cyberpunk and it's PC footage. Like, what the huh? You'd be like, that's ridiculous. How much would you pay for the PlayStation 6? What's Digital Foundry saying here? What do we have? Boom. Next-gen console pricing is challenging but crucial for Sony. In a world where PlayStation 5 now costs $200 more than it did in 2020. I gotta stop reading this for just a second. There was a stunning display of intelligence on my Twitter timeline last night. This is now, I think, taken a spot in the top 5 dumbest things I think I've ever seen somebody argue. I think it's earned a spot in the Hall of Fame of dumb. And I mean, this one's dumb, boys. This individual was arguing that PlayStation is worse Because even though they just raised their prices to be in lockstep with where all of the Xbox hardware is, even though the prices are identical, he said that PlayStation is worse because they raised the price by more, right? In order to catch up to where Xbox had all their hardware prices, PlayStation had to do a larger price increase. And I was like, you can't be serious. So for a longer period of time, PlayStation had a lower priced piece of hardware in the market. It took them longer to get to where Xbox's prices currently are. But they're worse because their price jump was bigger. It's in the top 5. It's got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen somebody argue. I was in disbelief. I was waiting. I thought it was sarcasm. I thought they were being silly. I was like, you can't be serious. You are insane right now. And I was like, Xbox raised their prices twice last year. What are you talking about? Like, yes, PlayStation raised their prices and it sucks, and nobody likes raised prices. I'm not defending raised prices, but let's be factual here. Like, Xbox did 2 last year, and they've been at a higher price all this time. And PlayStation just now matches that price. But because their price jump was bigger, because they did it basically in one fell swoop, they're worse? I was like, I was in disbelief. I was like, you can't be serious. As the argument continued, it got worse. He literally was like, oh, Xbox only did it because of the tariffs. And I was like, I'm sorry. Okay. So it was like, it was basically Xbox didn't do this. They're not greedy. They didn't do this out of greed or profit protection or anything like that. They did it because of the tariffs. PlayStation's doing it in its worst because their price jump was higher. Omar says, matches the price of the less successful console with less content, mind you. That said, it does suck. Here's the thing. I think at some level it's a strategy. I think the Gamer did what they did with their article, and I think this individual was doing something that they probably heard parroted elsewhere. There's probably a YouTuber somewhere or a podcaster somewhere that trotted out this manufactured brain dead take. And the reason I think it's manufactured is they know people will correct it, and then they've got you. They're like, nah, yeah, you're defending PlayStation. Yeah, Xbox did it first. Xbox did it too. You're defending PlayStation. It's like, no, we're correcting falsehood. What in the world? I'm telling you, it's by design. It's say something that you know it's manufactured to be like an ice pick to your temple. It's so stupid. You're like, oh, what? No, like you out of reflex. It's so dumb you can't help yourself. You're like, that's not true. And they're like, got him. Haha, you're defending PlayStation. And it's like, no, I'm not. Like, you're saying something that's ridiculous. You're saying something that isn't true. That's why they do it. And the thing is, and this is the real cheat code that these people have figured out, right? If you don't correct them, then they just get to run that as headcanon and more people will repeat it. More and more people are going to go around and be like, yeah, well, PlayStation's worse. Why? Well, they did a bigger price jump than Xbox did. It is ridiculous. It's designed to be ridiculous. Yeah, it's just like the Gamer article. The Gamer literally lies. They put out a tweet that is a lie. They're like, PlayStation just raised the price mid-gen. No console's ever done this before. And I'm like, What? They just did last year. What are you talking about? Xbox did this last year. Oh, by the way, PlayStation also did this last year. PlayStation raised their prices by $50 last year. So this isn't even the first time it's happened from PlayStation. It was like a double lie. It's truly a work of art when you can lie about something and it's actually a lie in two different ways. Like, what an achievement. What an achievement. Pin a ribbon on thegamer.com. So I corrected them with their own article. I'm like, this is not the first time this has happened mid-gen. Here's your own article covering Xbox doing this last year. What's everybody do? Oh yeah, here comes Mr. Defense Force Pony to be like Xbox 2. And I'm like, I'm not saying Xbox 2. I'm saying this is false. This is a lie. But it's just this fanboy lie to me daddy energy. It's like these fanboys think everybody's like them. And it's like, lie to me daddy. Just lie. Make PlayStation look bad by lying about the history of these price increases. And if anybody tries to correct the lie, I'm going to call them a pony. And it's like, it's like clockwork. Say something false, get corrected on the falsehood. Anybody who corrects you is doing it because they're a fanboy. And it's like it's like their only engagement is engagement that's based on a lie. Hanlon's razor, never attribute to malice what can be adequately explained by stupidity. I think that's ignorance. It's not that though. I think it's all manufactured, Hal. I think they do it on purpose. I think they know that the best way to get interaction is to lie. If you lie, you get a bunch of people to correct you, and then you can label all those people fanboys. I've seen this time and time again over the years. You trot out an argument that is it's literally manufactured to be corrected. It's like it's by design. It's like, no, yeah, people are going to correct this. They're going to get mad about this. And then you just get to gather up all the tweets and clips, and you can be like, look at all these fanboys seething and molding. And it's like, wait, what? You lied. They posted something that wasn't true. That doesn't matter. Wired Rope says, it's ignorant or malice, and F. Hanlon's razor, because there's a lot more malice than people would expect. Twitter seems to be mostly engagement farming now. Sometimes I stop myself halfway through a reply realizing I'm taking the bait. Isn't it interesting, Faffer? Like, I found myself doing that as well, where you almost feel like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Like, you're constantly second guessing yourself. It's not like it used to be. You used to like have the back and forth, have the debates, have the discussions, have the disagreements, and then you'd kind of walk away and be like, maybe you didn't necessarily change anybody's mind, but like you didn't walk away feeling like, wait a minute, did I get gaslit into that? Did I get manipulated into doing that? Was that even something that, like, wait a minute, did they even really care about the discussion? Were they literally just doing it because they knew people would get mad and try to correct them? That's why I like that when a tweet gets community noted, it can't make any money. I mean, that's why the gamer deleted their tweet. They looked like buffoons, and then they can't make any money off of it. So it's like, well, yeah, that's a pretty quick route, you know, for people to think twice about putting out a tweet that's like intentionally dishonest. At least they put out, you know, that update on the platform. But I couldn't believe it. I was in disbelief. I was like, this guy can't be serious. I mean, he went deep. He had articles and everything else. And there was a guy overnight that just went back and forth with him. And he was like telling him, he's like, you cannot possibly be this stupid to think that this is an actual, you know, cogent argument, like a convincing argument. What sent us down this train was the Digital Foundry article here. How much would you pay for the PlayStation 6? And as soon as I saw the pricing discussion, it made me think of that tweet. And I was like, I've got to vent. I have to vent to you guys about this. It was absolutely mind-numbing. It was mind-numbing. It was like, Xbox has been at this price for all this time. And not a peep from you, not a complaint, but because PlayStation finally caught up with their raised prices, they're worse because they did it faster or they did it with a bigger jump or something. I was like, oh my gosh. In a world where PlayStation 5 now costs $200 more than it did in 2020, and where the PS5 Pro is knocking on the door of $900, I mean, it is at $900 by no other console. Yeah, Nintendo raised their price on the Switch 1 as well. I mean, that was another one. Yeah, that guy, you know what's crazy about him? I mean, the name of his account is literally Throwaway Account. So he's literally just he's probably some angry YouTuber just on an alt that uses that as like his outlet of rage. He's like literally just yelling at people and it's like taking pride in getting blocked. Like when you go to somebody's profile and they're like daring you to block them, you're like, yeah, we're dealing with a genius here. Somehow Sony needs to price a device in an attractive manner while at the same time balancing this requirement with harsh economic reality. Simultaneously, it has to be careful with how it extracts revenue from the audience within its closed console ecosystem. So what are we looking at? 700, 800, over 1,000? The concepts behind console pricing have always been relatively straightforward. You buy the console up front at a reasonable price, with the platform holder often taking a loss, at least initially. The loss is offset against profits elsewhere from the ecosystem. It's widely believed that every game sold, Sony gets 30% of the revenue. It's widely believed. That's a weird way to phrase it. It's not widely believed. Like, this is pretty much an economic reality within these platforms. That's a strange phrase. It's also selling you a multi-tiered subscription program for access to things like cloud saving, multiplayer gaming, and access to a big library of games that you spend more. Therefore, for Sony, pricing is all about taking the hit on selling the machine, then gradually recouping the cost over the generation. And as that generation continues, the cost of making the machine reduces, meaning either price cuts to the consumer, profitability for the platform holder, or even both. Back in the good old days, the PlayStation 5 era has been less kind, however. The cost reductions on making a console are far slighter than they were in the preceding generations. Post-COVID, the worldwide economy has been subject to big inflationary surge, and now we have a problem with AI infrastructure investments driving up the cost of memory and storage. The established console model has effectively been based on deflation. So the question is, with the new, more advanced console said by many to be coming at the end of 2027, how on earth could it be affordable? What's the maximum you would pay? I mean, I wouldn't pay more. I think 800, if 700 to 800 in this range, if they get beyond this range, I think it's untenable. I think the era of 500 to 600 is probably being left behind, unfortunately. So I think this is probably the new threshold, 700 800. First of all, with the sense that the current console generation still has yet to fully kick into gear. What? All right, hang on a second. First of all, with the sense that the current console generation has still yet to fully kick into gear, Sony has to present a clear generational improvement from the new hardware, something far more profound than the kind of more iterative upgrade seen on the PlayStation 5 Pro. What? Huh? Who wrote this? Richard? What? I am so confused. These guys have had nothing but high praise for the Pro, calling things like RTGI and AC Shadows like a generational leap. This is bizarre. I do not get this paragraph at all. This is very strange. I would love to ask him why he thinks this. What? So huh? I'm stun locked. I'm like, wait, we haven't kicked into high gear? Like Spider-Man 2, Ragnarok, Forbidden West, GT7, like all these games look incredible on the PS5, the base PS5. Look at Death Stranding 2 on the base PS5. What are we talking about? None of that makes sense. The Pro is supposed to be an iterative upgrade. It's a Pro. Well, and I feel like they've gone beyond praise of just iterative upgrades on the Pro. They've gone beyond that in their praise for PSSR 2. They've gone beyond that. Samson with a 53 Metacritic. Is Samson another Mind's Eye? I'm not kidding you. I was getting Mind's Eye vibes, boys. I was getting Mind's Eye vibes. And you know what I did? I didn't say anything. I was like, I'm not doing this again. I am not doing this again. I don't want to start being negative on like the chads and the bros, the game that they're all excited about. I'm not doing it. I'm so tired of interacting with these guys. I didn't say a word about Samson, but I looked at it and I was like, that looks like freaking Mind's Eye to me. It just looks like there's something wrong. It looks like a shroud of a game. It's like, well, I don't understand what I'm looking at here. In short, it needs a narrative to justify the new console in the first place. All right, I'm just going to say this. I do not agree with Richard Ledbetter right here, okay? I do not agree with his take, and I don't even think their own content agrees with this take. I don't think their own content, I don't think their own coverage of the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, I don't think their content agrees with the fact that, like, this current gen hasn't kicked into high gear and Sony hasn't presented a clear generational improvement. I don't think that's accurate at all. I think that's objectively not accurate. It's like, wait a minute. Like, the instantaneous loading, the amount of ray tracing and reflections, and the fidelity in like a Spider-Man 2, and the level of difference in like the cinematic lighting in Horizon Forbidden West on the Pro, the level of difference in the tour de force of power and graphical fidelity seen in Burning Shores, the DLC you can't even get on old gen, it's only on PS5. Ragnarok, Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, what we're about to see in Sorrows, what we saw in Death Stranding 2 on a base PS5 was so impressive. Ghost of Yotei, like, the idea that there hasn't been a clear generational improvement, I think is objectively false. That's not true. It is measurable. There is a very clear generational improvement on the PS5 versus the PS4. This is so strangely worded. I'm baffled. I'm baffled after all their breakdowns this gen, after how impressed they've been with the PS5 this gen over Series X, and how impressed they've been with the PS5 Pro, how impressed they've been with the PSSR 2, that you would think there hasn't been a clear generational improvement. I genuinely don't understand. This makes no sense to me. Elaborate on that. What do you agree with? What's T. Frank saying? He's a pro. I agree somewhat with Richard. You disagree? Trot out why you disagree with me. Is he talking from a PS5 to the Pro? No. Look at how the sentence starts off. He says, first of all, with the sense that the current console generation has yet to fully kick into high gear, how does he support this premise? He says, Sony has to present a clear generational improvement from the new hardware, something far more profound than the kind of more iterative upgrades seen on the Pro. He's literally saying that the current gen hasn't kicked it into full gear yet, and there hasn't been a clear generational improvement. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm baffled. It's like, what do you mean? You cannot get the experience of Spider-Man 2 and the reflections and the instantaneous loading. You can't get that on the PS4. It doesn't exist. Look at Yotei. Look at Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2 was blowing people away at the preview event. At the preview event was blowing people away, and they were shocked it was on a base PS5. You're misreading it? How am I misreading it? What do you think he's saying? Where do you think I'm incorrect in my read of this? How in the world have I misread this? He says the current console generation, there's a sense that the current console gen hasn't really kicked it into gear. And he says Sony has to present a clear generational improvement from the new hardware. Is he saying that this is the public perception? Is it the public's perception? You're misreading it. He's comparing the PS5 to the PS5 Pro Jump. No, he is not. I'm not misreading it. Oh my gosh. When I get told I misread things. All right. Let's try one more time. With the sense that the current console generation, okay, this is the context. He is talking about the fact that the current console generation has still yet to fully kick it into gear. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the gen that we're in right now hasn't kicked it into full gear. I'm not misreading that. That's what it says. He says Sony has to present a clear generational improvement from the new hardware. Something far more profound than the kind of more iterative upgrade seen from the PlayStation 5 Pro. In short, it needs a narrative to justify a new console in the first place. You see? He's literally saying this gen hasn't even really got into gear. There hasn't been a clear generational improvement. So you really have to justify the new console. I'm baffled. I'm like, I don't understand. I feel like this gen has been very clear in the fact that it's a generational improvement over the PS4. Zubair says, I can see what people are saying. He might be saying, the normies think this wasn't much of a jump, so a PS6 will need to be a huge jump to justify the purchase. Let's just keep reading. I fundamentally do not agree with what he is saying. If he's talking about the general sense of the public and that the public feels like there hasn't been a big enough jump, I mean, maybe he's echoing what they get feedback in their comments or something, but I'm like, brother, you guys have broken down all these games. There's a clear generational divide between the PS5 and the 4. I don't know what to say. They have echoed this before. I know Alex Battaglia has said that he hasn't really felt like this gen has really gotten to full steam yet. And I'm like, I don't know what that would look like, I guess. It's the most charitable read, says Zubair. It's awkwardly written. Okay, let's just continue. That's going to be tricky because fundamentally, for all the criticisms we've seen this generation, the PS5 has the kind of hardware balance its predecessor did not. Its CPU may not be the best of the best, but it's far superior to the prior mobile-oriented Jaguar cores. Meanwhile, this generation's storage solution solves the problems of the mechanical HDD era. PlayStation 5 will persist for many years to come, but also raises the bar for what PS6 needs to deliver. It can't be an iterative bump. It can't fall foul of the law of diminishing returns, but it also needs to be affordable. This, I agree with all of this. And at the same time, it needs to tackle the problem of an extended cross-gen period where we should expect practically any PS6 game to also run on the PS5 and apparently a handheld. I think this is exactly spot on. That's why I said I was so bewildered by what I was reading. Like, I really feel like Richard Ledbetter's always right on the money. I'm like, I do not understand that previous paragraph. I don't know what he's trying to communicate. I agree with everything in this paragraph. Yes, it's going to have to be a noticeable jump because you aren't going to be able to leverage the diminishing returns of like, well, the hardware is just stronger. There's going to have to be other things that they're leveraging to convince people that the PS6 is worth it. Also, it's got to be affordable. Like, nobody's going to want to buy this thing if it's $1,000 and like, oh, it's got better ray tracing. Like, that's not going to sell people. So I completely agree with everything he's saying here. I commonly find myself sort of in lockstep with what Richard Ledbetter says. That's why this paragraph just threw me an absolute curveball of like a buffer. I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Noted leakers, or to be more accurate, reporters of leaks from their own sources, such as Moore's Law is Dead and Kepler, have both been surprisingly bullish on the PS6 pricing. A certain degree of affordability is baked into the design. While allegedly based on Zen 6 CPU technology and the RDNA 5 graphics architecture, Sony has gone for the best bang for their buck strategy, in contrast to Microsoft's more performance-oriented Project Helix alternative. One would expect an emphasis on big efficiency improvements from the architecture in combination with a heavier reliance on machine learning features to allow the PS6 to punch above its weight. Kepler has even come into the ballpark of bill of materials, saying the PS6 will cost $760 in component costs, suggesting leeway for a sub $700 price with appropriate subsidy. Yeah, this is all stuff that we've reported on here as well. Could he be referring to the cadence of games on the PS5 that fully show its strength? No, I don't think he's referring to the cadence. I don't think so. I think what Richard Ledbetter is saying here is that, and again, I don't think this is an accurate statement that I would agree with, but he's saying Sony has to present a clear generational improvement from the new hardware, okay? He's saying that there's a sense that the current console generation has yet to fully kick it into gear. Sony has to present a clear generational improvement from the new hardware, something far more iterative than the iterative upgrade seen on the Pro. In short, it needs a narrative to justify a new console in the first place, okay? I understand it now. No, I understand it. Okay. He's saying, first of all, with the sense that the current console generation has yet to fully kick it into gear, and now he's turning to think about the PS6. He's saying Sony has to present a clear generational improvement from the new hardware. He's saying the new hardware has to do that. He's not saying that the PlayStation 5 has failed to do that. He is agreeing, though, with Alex Battaglia, who has said this, that they don't feel like this gen has really gotten up and running all that yet. It's like it feels like we just got started. They've echoed that on some of their content. I don't generally understand why they think that. So you were misreading? No, I wasn't misreading. It's just very awkwardly written. You're following it up by saying the current console generation hasn't kicked it into full gear, and Sony has to present a clear generational improvement. It's like, huh? What do you mean? How have we not kicked it into high gear? They've said this many times. I've disagreed with them many times on this. I don't think we've yet to fully kick it into high gear. I feel like this gen has been very consistent. If anything, it started out really strong and then it slowed down, and now we're just at a steady cadence of like 2 or 3 games a year. I didn't misread it. It's written very awkwardly. It's like, wait a minute, why are you saying that we haven't kicked it into full gear yet? That's what people think. I don't agree with that. What game have we gotten on the PS5 that we look at on the normal person says, oh, this could have run on a PS4? Normal person, not us. Yeah, I mean, I guess, again, he might be echoing what they hear in their comment section. There could be tons of people that take that mentality that like, well, this could run just fine on a PS4, or this doesn't look much better than a PS4. I mean, they commonly have to say things like, yes, YouTube encoding or YouTube compression really makes it hard to see these things. Like, they regularly, like, you got to look at this on your own to really, really see the differences. So maybe they commonly get that notion in their comment section that like people are like, man, this hasn't been that big of a jump this gen, and that's what he's speaking to here. He's like, there's a sense that the current console gen hasn't kicked it into high gear. He's like, that's the sense. And he's like, Sony's got to present a clear generational improvement for the new hardware, something far more profound than the kind of more iterative upgrade seen on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And it's like, this again, I also think, and I stand by this, I think their own content disagrees with this. It's like, your own content has really praised the jump on the Pro. It's not just iterative upgrades. You've talked about generational leaps in games like AC Shadows. I didn't misread this either. I don't agree with this. I don't think it's just been small iterative upgrades on the Pro. They've had big praise in the last couple of weeks about PSSR 2 alone. Looking significantly better, looking crisper and cleaner and being superior. Just in this morning when we covered the Cyberpunk thing. The Cyberpunk thing, they literally said that it looks superior to the FSR, whatever number it was. It's like, again, this is written so strangely. It's like, it sounds to me like you're saying that we haven't really gotten the jumps on the Pro or the jumps this gen. They're going to have to do something even more profound or significant to justify the new console. Their opinion is sophisticated. He's referring to the unsophisticated opinion. Yeah, I suppose he's saying when he says this with the sense, he's arguing that, yes, there's a sense in the public that this hasn't been significant enough, and they're going to have to change that, especially in light of rising costs, because that's going to affect perception of the consumer. What's AOZ saying? The difference between an HDD and an SSD is an order of magnitude. Do you want to know what doesn't feel like a generational leap? 4090s to 5090s, says AOZ. Yeah, it's interesting that that's been an ongoing narrative that like we didn't get a big enough leap this time. It wasn't a generational leap, and that the gen has just gotten started. Like, again, maybe he's not saying he thinks this. It sounds like he's just saying this is where the public lands on it, so PlayStation's got an uphill battle. That I actually agree with. I agree with him. If that's what he's trying to communicate here, then I agree with him. I don't agree with that perception, but I agree that that's where the public has landed and that you're going to have an uphill climb because people are going to be like, we barely got started. We barely moved the needle. Why does my camera keep not looking right in the cam circle? I must have made adjustments. when I was streaming with Madam or something. I was like super like off-centered and stuff. That was weird. It's just weird to say all this when the sales say otherwise, says Hidden Siryu. Well, he's not speaking to sales. And this is where I agree with Richard Ledbetter. He's speaking to the public perception of we didn't even really get that big of a leap this gen. I don't agree with that. This gen's just getting started. I don't agree with that either. He's saying that's the perception, which means if that's the perception, you're going to have to convince people to that the PS6 is an even bigger leap or is even bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's essentially what he's saying. He's saying there's a sense out there that things haven't even really gotten started and this hasn't been a big enough jump. They're going to have to overcome that hurdle. I don't think he's wrong. Now, the real question would be, is John Q. Public, who walks into the retail store, or John Q. Public, who's going to order their PlayStation from Amazon or Best Buy, and have it shipped to their house, are they even paying attention to any of this dialogue? I don't know. I don't think that they are. Zubair says he's talking about selling to the people you didn't convince this gen was a huge jump. There's a lot of people still on the PS4. That is true. Anybody used to a PS5, if they tried a PS4 for 5 minutes, they would immediately see the generational leap, for sure. He goes on here, the question is the extent to which the subsidy will still be viable when the concept of a cost-reduced console across the generation may no longer be possible. But there's something else to factor into the conversation. If the reports are true, Sony isn't just releasing PlayStation 6. There's a handheld in the mix too. The leaked specifications look plausible enough. More performance than an Xbox Series S, augmented with superior ray tracing capabilities and machine learning functionality that'll help the silicon punch above its weight. There's talk that it'll dock to a TV just like a Switch 2. If my theories are correct, it'll play every PS4 game out of the box. PS5 games will be adapted to run on it like using something very close to PS5's low power mode, and next-gen titles will be developed in tandem to run on it. The only thing with his theory that I'm not on board with yet is this last part. I really don't know if next-gen titles are going to be developed in tandem to run on the handheld. I think they're going to develop the games and then add in a low power mode. Like, Yote was not developed for low power mode. Low power mode came after. So I don't necessarily think this is something PlayStation is going to do. They don't work from that direction because they know how detrimental that is to a game's viability and fidelity. Nick Shot says, I think the graphics are at a point where they won't get much better. Just make a console that'll do consistent 120 and a consistent 1440 at least. Yeah, I mean, we're getting to the point where going beyond photorealism is less noticeable. Going higher resolution is less noticeable. It's going to need to be things like lighting, path tracing, better physics systems, more realistic environments where you feel like the movement of the player and the movement of the NPCs is more fluid and more realistic, and not just, there's more pixels. But I do not think PlayStation's hierarchy of order, I don't think they're going to suddenly say, hey, God of War Egypt needs to be developed in tandem for the handheld. I do not think they're going to do that. No. I think people are fundamentally misunderstanding this handheld. I'm not saying Richard Ledbetter's misunderstanding it, but I think there's a lot of people that are misunderstanding it, and one of the reasons they're misunderstanding it is it's being referred to as a PlayStation 6 handheld. I don't think that's what it's going to function as. It's not meant to be a PlayStation 6 in your pocket. It's meant to be a PlayStation handheld, which will be able to, as he says, play the PS4 games out of the box, play PS5 games on low power mode. There will likely be some other low power mode for the PS6, and the games will not be developed to run on the handheld. How backwards would that be for your development to walk into the PlayStation 6 and pull a Series S hamstring? There's no reason to do that. There is no reason to do that. That would be a huge mistake. I cannot imagine PlayStation watching Xbox step on that rake and then deciding to do the same thing. Sean Layden already stated it was a mistake that they made with the Vita is treating it as if it was a console versus a handheld. I'm sure this time around they won't make the same mistake twice. Right, they also have that lesson in their pocket. I don't think they're going to do that. That's the only part of this I don't think. And again, he's saying it's his theory, so he's not saying this is how it's going to be. This is how he thinks it'll be. It'll cost more to make than a Switch 2 and will almost certainly be more expensive, but I'd struggle to see it pricier than a PlayStation 6. What we might be looking at then is an evolution of what a generational leap actually is. A state-of-the-art upgrade for those with the funds to pay for it, alongside a more sideways step. A new machine that runs the games of today with fewer compromises in a hybrid format. What we might be looking at is the evolution of what a generational leap actually is. State-of-the-art upgrade for those with the funds to pay for it, alongside a more sideways step. A new machine that runs games of the day with fewer compromises in a hybrid format. Oh, he's still talking about the handheld here. Okay, I was like, huh? In this scenario, PS5 will remain. The handheld will deliver equivalent experiences and also work as a standalone console just like the Switch. What you aren't getting in terms of vastly improved graphics, you're getting in terms of portability and best-in-class handheld gaming that'll still look good on your living room screen. This, in turn, may allow Sony to position PlayStation 6 as a more premium option. Even so, whether it's the handheld or a full-fledged PlayStation Stick, there's a problem. What you might call a psychological ceiling for the affordable games machine. Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, how there is a ceiling on how much you can charge for a device like this, and as soon as you get beyond $800, I think you just start losing people. The $600 to $800 range, I think people could probably justify it. They're looking at phones, they're looking at TVs, they're looking at all these different sort of things that are priced in that vicinity. As soon as you get beyond $800, you start losing people. They're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. That's too much. The consensus in the Digital Foundry team is that the price point feels like $599. When we asked our supporters what they'd be willing to pay, we had a wide range of responses, anything from $750 to over $1,000, depending on what the PlayStation 6 actually delivers. While that might sound that the market might be ready for a more expensive hardware, an enthusiast audience willingness to pay more does not automatically translate into mainstream success. That is a very, very, very well-made point. Yeah. The people watching Digital Foundry will be like, yeah, I have no problem paying that kind of money, but enthusiasts are very different than the mainstream audience. The mainstream audience is going to balk at anything beyond $700. As soon as you touch $800, I think you lose people. They're saying $600 right here. I think 6 to 7. Once you 6 7, once you get beyond 6 7, once you get to that 800 range, I think people start jumping off. Get fired, changed. I got 3 information. The SDK handles the code, Nixes, TeamLFG, UI handles community. They're doing great. Hang on, I'll look at that in a second. Perhaps the pricing debate isn't just about coming up with a magic number, but more about understanding the inexorable rise of hardware costs, what shape the PlayStation ecosystem will evolve into while acknowledging very sensitive audience psychology around pricing. But what would you pay for PlayStation 6? Yeah, I mean, I the only thing I stand by is my original disagreement is I don't agree with the perspective that he's outlining here. He wasn't saying he agrees with this. He was merely saying that this is the perspective. So I stand by my original disagreement. I do not agree that the idea is like this console generation really hasn't, got into full gear and there hasn't been a clear generational improvement. He's saying that's a sense that they have to overcome. He's not saying he agrees with it. So he's right, they have to overcome it. I don't agree with that perspective that so many people have, that like this gen just got started and there hasn't been a big enough jump. I don't agree with that in the least. So as I started reading it further, it was clear he didn't agree with that. He's like, this has been a rise in the hardware and its capabilities. But there's plenty of people who just don't see it that way. Layoffs have hit another PlayStation studio, though it's not a game development team, but a software development team. The news was reported by Oscar Diaz, senior design technologist at PlayStation since October of 2020, where he worked on building tools and processes to help the UX group at PlayStation push the boundaries of play. He was one of the effective employees. Most of my team was laid off from PlayStation. It was a dream to get to work with Sony on the platform I'd grown up playing with since PS1, contribute to the PS5, the Portal, the PSVR 2, the PS app, and future consoles. If you know anyone who needs an engineer experience with native console UI, feel free to reach out. Sony's PlayStation division was recently laid off several employees, including some of the Sony Bend, following the cancellation of their live service project. Wait, why are they referencing the Bend layoffs? That was a while ago, wasn't it? Homie, perfect image. This is a year old. Perfect image. This article is from February the 6th of 2025. This is not now. This is a year old, brother. I was like, why is it mentioning Bend? That was a long time. That was a while ago. That was last year. Most people don't care. They get new hardware for exclusive games. Can you please read my last message? As always, don't forget the 60 FPS leap. Right. I think that's a common issue. Is doubling frame rate just gets absolutely glided over as if it's not that big of a deal. Anybody try Samson yet? Dev said it is 25 hours. It sounds like it's doing terribly. It sounds like it's doing very poor. It has a 50% on Steam. It has a 50% on Steam, and it has a bad Metacritic. It's an early access game, so it can likely improve. We can go read the reviews right now. Let's just look at there's 30 negative and 30 positive. Didn't expect too much from this game, but the game is too much unoptimized. Combat's clanky. NPCs are glitched sometimes. Missions are repetitive. But hey, they tried to make something in the future. If this game gets a big update, I will be back. This person received it for free. It has the potential of being a pretty good action adventure, but it's currently broken, repetitive grind. The overall vibe of the game, this is the good, feels like a cool mix of Mafia games, GTA, and Max Payne. Pretty satisfying hand-to-hand combat, feels nice and heavy. The driving model's a mixed bag. The bad. Tons of bugs and glitches, sometimes even completely game-breaking. I couldn't proceed with the story further than Mission 2, so I just had to replay grinding missions over and over until I paid my debt. That's the game's main goal, and that's it. Extremely repetitive content. Missions seem fun at first, but they quickly get boring since you realize you're doing the same thing in the same place for the second or third time. Collisions in the game are extremely bad and inconsistent. If you play for a while, you'll see what I mean. Get ready for gates that you drive through tens of times, suddenly not letting you through. The upgrade system is based on collectibles. 188 boards to smash. It's just lazy work. The game has potential, but right now it feels very rough. Combat and driving are both clunky. The game looks blurry. Movement feels buggy, especially when running, since the character stops awkwardly at times. The AI is also extremely easy to beat, which makes the gameplay less satisfying. Overall, it could become a good game with another 6 to 8 months of development, but in its current state, it feels unfinished. I was quite excited for something different. The combat is fun. Optimization isn't great, but the game looks good. Combat fighting is fun, but not very fluid. It feels like Mad Max. It doesn't feel like Mad Max or any solid fighting. Had a mission to chase 2 cars. Very uninspired and janky. Didn't feel great. I like the premise, and I think after some patches it might be more solid. Yeah, I didn't say much about Samson because it felt like it was shaping up to be another like another cheerleader, like another bro cheerleader game. Where all like these dude bros think it's going to be like the greatest game ever, and they just get so furious at you for not slobbering all over it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not talking about how that game looks like Mind's Eye to me. It just looked like another Mind's Eye. It looked like a game that they were like trying to rush to market. I such little interest in it. Creature, are you here? I don't know if he's been in chat yet. I need him to look into something. I should have sent a DM last night, but it's the first time hearing of this game. So it was like a Mind's Eye. It looked very much like inspired by GTA and like open world and like very dude bro. Like come in here and just be a bro and do stuff, and it's dark and gritty and blah. And I was just like, something looks off here. It's made by the Just Cause guys. Nope. I can't access the webmail. Can you look into that? I don't know. I think I'm getting mail on my phone, but I have not been able to access the webmail for a couple of days. I don't know if you can look into what's going on there. Everything else seems to work fine. Coffee and all that works fine, but I can't access my webmail. Sony guts PlayStation UI team shortly after the huge success of the PS5 30th anniversary themes. Yeah. That's a year old. There's what's the reason to talk about that now? That all happened last year. Samson developer is making it the best it really can be, but don't expect zero bugs at launch. It just looked bad to me. It just looked bad. Every time I looked at a trailer, I'm like, this just looks like another one of those dude bro games where everybody's going to get super hyped, and if you're not on board, you're going to be labeled as a hater, and then it's going to come out and be garbage, and then nobody will come back around and be like, you were right, man. I was like, I didn't cover it, touch it, or talk about it, and that was why. It just gave me the dude bro Defense Force vibes, and I was like, I went through that with Mind's Eye. I'm not doing it again. Nothing wrong with a dude bro game. There aren't any more like back in the 360 PS3 era. Well, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a dude bro game. I feel like there's games that are trying to be the latest dude bro game, and then like dude bro Defense Force shows up to your stream and your comments, and you're like, yeah, and like that's what their comments sound like. And I was like, I don't feel like dealing with, you know, the intellectual gruntings of that Neanderthalic following that these games always get. I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with it. Doubling frame rate is difficult on console. Some sort of lossless edition might help. Yeah, I mean, back to what somebody was saying. I don't know who it was that was trying to put me on that wavelength of commentary. But yeah, the doubling of frame rates, I think, is commonly, you know, not given enough praise. It's like the fact that this is, you know, this has been a generation where we've seen that happen. In addition to getting like better lighting, better resolution, better, you know, pretty much everything. It's like, I really don't understand why people have consistently acted like this gen hasn't been that impressive. I don't get that perspective at all, and I don't agree with it. It is a perspective that's out there, and it is a perspective that PlayStation is going to have to try to overcome in their next, you know, round of things. But, you know, I don't know. It to me has been a consistently strange conversation about how like this gen's been disappointing and this gen's just been not good enough and this, that, and the third. And I was just like, I don't understand, you know, but I think that's going to be a consistent theme next gen as well. I think people are going to consistently complain that like, oh, it's all about lighting and making things pretty, and people will say that that's not good enough. And it's like, I don't know. I've been very pleased with performance this gen, and if next gen I get better upscaling, better ray tracing, you know, there's only so high that things need to go. You know, it's interesting that we waffle from one debate to the next. Like sometimes it's like, why do we care about this? I play games, not frames. And it's like, well, okay, if we're at where we are graphically right now, right? If next gen I'm playing games that look about as good as Yote and Death Stranding 2, with better lighting, shadows, you know, overall very stable performance, I'm not going to complain about that at all. Like we're getting such great visuals and performance. We don't need to go much higher. I want the games to be good. That's why I loved when the guy from Housemarque was talking about Saros, and he was like, if I get a stronger console next gen, I'm going to make the game more reactive. I'm going to make the game feel more alive, basically. And I'm like, that's exactly what you should do. Oh, I got more GPU power. Oh, put more twinkling lights in the game. It's like, no, focus on the game. Nick on Twitter says, people feel like this gen hasn't been squeezed or fully realized yet because no game has come out that makes these consoles sound like jet engines. No slate of games came out on capable of doing 60 FPS. That's why nobody is craving next gen. We haven't had a Cyberpunk on PS4 moment. That's a very interesting other perspective to bring to the table, that like this gen's been so consistent, nobody's pining for next gen. Like, oh, I mean, I remember people doing this with Gotham Knights, and people were trying to do it with Crimson Desert. These consoles just aren't strong enough, man. And it's like, no, that was a game problem. You know, that was a game problem. That wasn't like the consoles aren't strong enough. Both Gotham Knights and Crimson Desert had their own, you know, versions of dumb decisions that went into the development. It's not that this gen is bad, it's that the jump didn't feel as much of a jump like PS4 to PS4 Pro. It felt like a huge jump. What? I need to fully understand your position. You're telling me that you feel like the jump from the PS4 to the PS4 Pro, you think that felt like a huge jump, and the jump from PS4 to PS5 wasn't? Wasn't the jump to Pro 4K? I mean, yes, sort of. In some games, it wasn't even all the games. I played on my Pro. I played God of War 2018 and Spider-Man 1 on my PS4 Pro. Didn't feel like I don't know. It was 4K checkerboard, so maybe that's what he means. Like maybe that resolution jump just really blew his mind. This is maybe the difference. It's all a matter of perception. I had been playing Destiny 2 on PC and had been playing PC games. So when I played on the PS4 Pro, and got rid of my PS4, I was not like, oh my gosh. I was like, it's 30 FPS. It looks kind of stuttery and blurry to me. Does that make sense? Like, my perception of the PS4 Pro was like, this is okay. But I was so accustomed to the performance I was getting on my PC that I was like, yeah, I don't think this is that big of a leap or that big of a jump at all. Look who sounds like a snob now. You shut the frick up, Zubair. I'm also thinking about PC. Always will. I know we are console leaning here, but we need power on PC so we can hand it down to you console guys. Now I feel like we're getting pretty much the same. I think you'd be surprised how much not console we're leaning here. You're in good company if you're a PC guy in this community. The PC guys here aren't just like rabid weirdos. I mean, except for Zubair. But I mean, they're not rabid weirdos. So you don't realize there are actually a huge chunk of folks here who are primarily playing on their PCs. I don't know how much we lean console here. I think that's a perception that we get from people that kind of lie about me and my content in this community. I think we actually are very evenly split a lot of the times. This community's not console leaning, says Zubair. Lono's console leaning, but he knows it. Yeah. PC here, I have a 5090. There's Zubair, there's plenty of others. I literally think we're like, we used to be like a 30-30-30. Like it was like a third of the people here were like PlayStation, a third were like Xbox, and then a third were like PC. I think a lot of the Xbox guys stopped coming around, and then I think a lot of them turned into PC guys. So, I play PC and I have PlayStation for exclusives. I just like games. I don't care if it's console or PC. The PS5 to the Pro is more significant. I mean, I know it comes down to like what you prioritize, but because I prioritize frames per second, the PS4 Pro was not impressive to me at all. The PS5 was impressive to me because now I was getting what I valued. Like, I wonder if that's the difference. Like, if you came from PS4 Pro and you were totally fine with 30 FPS and you booted up a PS5 and you were running games at 30 FPS, you were like, okay, it's prettier. There's like lighting and stuff. And I'm sitting over here being like, dude, this is awesome. I'm getting 60 FPS in every game. The difference is, like, our journeys were completely different. I stopped playing on console and was primarily on PC, so that when I went to the PS4 Pro, I was like, this thing's not impressive at all. Like, I literally got it for God of War and Spider-Man, and after that, I like barely touched it. I think I played Uncharted 4 on it as well, and was like, wow. But I still didn't think it was that impressive. I was like, man, I wish I could get 60 FPS. In walks the PS5, and I'm getting 60 FPS in Ratchet and Returnal and basically any other game I played. And I was like, okay, this is it. I'm in the future now. Some gamers don't see FPS. I guess. And they probably thought I played God of War on a PS4 Pro. And then they played Ragnarok. at 30 FPS like a drunkard, and they were like, I don't get what all the fuss is about. You see what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if that's why there are people that bought the PS5 and they're like, I don't get it. And I'm like, yeah, you don't get it because you're not actually leveraging the thing that what was promised. You're still playing at 30 FPS. You're just like, okay, God of War Ragnarok at 30 FPS on a PS5 versus God of War 2018 on a PS4 Pro. You're probably like, I don't get it. There's no real jump here. And it's like, yeah, there's no real jump here. You're still playing it at 30. You're not going to see the fluidity and the smoothness that you get when you double the dadgum frame rate. Faffer says, you can spend stupid amounts of money for small increments in performance in most hobbies. I don't think high-end GPUs really belong in the discussion for most gamers. I mean, that's fair. It's definitely enthusiast level, gaming. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the show, do me a real quick favor on YouTube. Hit that like button. I lost track of time. We've been going for 2 hours. We've just been debating and talking. Gaming news is a little light, but we've been having a great time. So do me a favor and hit that like button. And we're well off pace this week to unlock Saturday. It looks like Saturday's probably not going to happen. That's okay. You ain't going to hear me complain about getting 2 nights off in a row, Friday and Saturday. Well, I guess Sunday too. Usually I'm doing stuff with like my church group on Sunday. But check your renewals and your primes. That certainly adds to the total. You want to get credit for your support of the channel. If you're paying for that support, make sure and celebrate those renewals. I like to smash the like button. Well, thank you. We need 30 more likes on the video, guys. Make sure you go through that ritual of every time you get to the show, you say good morning, you say hello, put an emote in chat, and hit that like button. You go through those rituals. It definitely helps us out. Samsung reviews are out. The new GTA-alike title from former Just Cause developers. Main sentiment seems to be that the positives are solid foundational ideas, but it's smaller scope, the grounded crime setting, and some enjoyable combat. There's tons of praise for the open world design. Actually, I need another dude bro or hypermasculine title. I'm starting to miss the old action movies and games of the 80s and 90s. It seems these days action has gotten soft. Last time I post. Sorry, I'm not trying to make you repost so many times. Action has gotten soft. I guess I'd be curious what games you're playing. Like, did you play Neo 3? Like, Neo 3 looked pretty intense. Did you play First Berserker Kazan? Like, what kind of action are you looking for? Are you looking for, like, action dude bro guns and rough and tumble? Maybe that's what you're looking for. I mean, that definitely hasn't... I feel like that theme has certainly taken a break. Dude in the leather jacket walking around and he's gruff and he's got a gun and he's got his fists and he's... yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of that. But in general, I feel like we've gotten a... I don't know. I feel like we've gotten a pretty good amount of really good action games, like combat-focused games. Oh, you want like Rambo, Terminator. Yeah, okay, that's what you mean. Yeah, we definitely have kind of not been in that era for a while. That, I think, is true. And, I think one of the reasons I probably don't care that much about that is because I'm just sort of like... I don't know. I don't necessarily miss those games because I don't necessarily have like a super strong attachment to them. I'm not like, oh my gosh, there was this time where you could just play a game and just be a dude with a square jaw and you could slap and punch everybody and it was awesome. And I just don't... I mean, I played Doom and Wolfenstein and all those games, but, and Duke Nukem. Yo, Chrono, thank you so much for bringing your viewers over here on YouTube, man. I appreciate that raid. Guys, make sure and check out Chrono on the various platforms where he streams. I am not going to be with the boys this Friday. Something's going on with Final Fantasy. I've got nothing to say about Final Fantasy, so I think they're going to be doing something with that. So... Did you play Doom? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be 45 this year, so I played all of the games that are why we have games today. Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Quake 2, Quake 3, Unreal Tournament. All I was there. And so, to me, it's interesting that I played those games, but I don't have this oh man, I wish we could go back to that time, because I've enjoyed games like Sekiro and Tsushima and Returnal and Hellblade 1, and I don't know. I don't think it's that my palate has changed. I don't know if my palate has ever been rigid and stuck on a particular thing. I feel like I've definitely gone through phases. Of there was a time where all I really played was Destiny, and I would dabble in other games and try them out. But I don't feel like I've ever stuck with a particular style of game. And I need that. That's what I want, man. I don't feel like I've ever kind of been that way as a gamer, ever. Gears of War E-Day later this year. Big boys killing grubs with chainsaws. Yeah, I'm excited for Gears of War E-Day, but not in the same way as someone who's man, we need to return to Dude Bro. When I played Space Marine 2, and then I played it co-op with my wife, we had such a fun time with that. I wish I would have played the whole game co-op with her, because I think we played about half of the game co-op together, and it was just such a good time. It was just such a good time. And to me, it was I don't know if I was having that experience and being oh man, we need more games like this, man. You play Just Cause? Yeah, for an afternoon, and I never went back. There are games like Just Cause and what's the other one? Dead Rising. There's one called Dead Rising. Isn't it Dead Rising? No, not Far Cry. Games like Just Cause and Dead Rising, there's a frivolity to them. Thank you for 55 months, Detonator. Let's add it to the total. There's a frivolity to them where there's not really a point, if that makes sense. You're just sort of, I don't know, it's just sort of a dopamine testosterone simulator. Is that what you could call them? I don't know. It's not that I don't like them. It's that they don't do anything for me. I'm like, yeah, that was fun, and then I just don't ever have a desire to go back. Yo, Calvin, thank you so much for renewing your membership, hitting us to 109. It doesn't take itself seriously. I don't know if it doesn't take itself seriously. It's it doesn't have anything outside of come and blow stuff up and just be a bro. I don't know. It just doesn't speak to me. I'm just bored. I'm okay, I can blow up entire villages and set up all these cool, sequences of explosions and stuff. And after about an hour, I'm okay, cool. I never need to do this ever again. That was fun. They're a bit shallow. I think that you can make something shallow that's fun. And a 5 bomb comes in from Jack Garland and gets us to 114. Thank you so much, Mr. Jack Garland. I appreciate it. Just Cause 3 did a contest to have players win an island. Space Marine 2 was a great dude bro game, in fairness. It was a great dude bro game, and when I played it, I had a good time, and then I moved on to playing something else. I don't know. I think there's plenty of reasons to enjoy and play those dude bro games, but I'm not sitting around pining for them. I'm oh man, I just can't believe we don't have enough of those games. They to me are one more option on the menu. It's not the only thing I'm looking for. Ghost Recon, I don't care about Ghost Recon anymore. Ghost Recon's nothing now. What is Ghost Recon? I played it back in the day with my brother, and we enjoyed sneaking around and doing co-op, and then they did that open world thing, and it was just this generic nothing, and I was okay, I don't even know what you are anymore. Soros can be a your guy with gun dude bro game, says Sneaky Wolf. I don't agree. I don't see anything in Soros that's going to scratch a dude bro game itch for anybody. The guy who won was named Cornelius something. He chose to take money instead of the island, and the way he won was super questionable as the amount of points he was earning was beyond possible. Stellar Blade director says that Stellar Blade sequel won't be revealed until it has reached a satisfactory state. Our team is currently working very passionately on the production, and we would like to present it once it has reached a satisfactory quality. Rather than sharing it prematurely, we believe it is best to inform everyone once everything is fully prepared. Revoke MJ's membership. He can afford to give everyone here one forever and then some. Huh? Who are you talking about? If anything, Saros would be the dude WTF bro type of game. The best dude bro game was Soldier of Fortune and always will be. I remember playing a lot of Soldier of Fortune PvP. There was the one where you had to like go in and get the briefcase or something. You mean not making a trailer from a Word doc? Crazy theory for Saros. As you progress, your hub will get smaller as NPCs die off or disappear, creating a sense of dread and isolation. I don't know if that's going to happen. Can you play Returnal co-op like at the start? Me and my brother are going to play it to get ready for Saros. I do not believe you can do... Can you do co-op right away? Oh, a guy named Michael Jordan got gifted. Yeah, come on, Michael. Come on, dude. Bless us all. It'll be like Elden Ring. I think Saros, the NPCs, will likely stay there. I think co-op in Returnal... You can't do the daily challenge in Returnal, I don't think, until you get to the first boss. I don't know. Do you have to unlock co-op as well after first death? So you have to go through like the tutorial and get killed once, and then you can do co-op? Okay. You can do it immediately. You need one death. I was like, I know there's something that you can't do right away. I believe it's the daily challenge for Ether. I don't think you can do that until you face the first boss. I don't think you have to beat Frike. I just think you have to get to Frike. I think. I might be wrong. Maybe you have to beat Frike before you can do the daily challenge for the Ether. Army of Two is Go to Dude Bro. The first Army of Two is Go to Dude Bro. The second game I thought was disappointing. I thought it was very disappointing. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet on YouTube, real quick, do me that favor. The like count was already doing well today. Let's just roll it over to 300 very, very quickly if you don't mind. You might have to unlock the Learn the Basic Survival trophy. I'm going to watch your video before we play it. Yeah, a lot of people have done that. We might, in the lead up to Saros, we might do like a weekly Returnal segment. I might do like a weekly Returnal, like just Returnal gameplay to run the challenges that you guys, we dreamed up that would be pretty fun, like where I had to pick everything up. I think that's fun. It's really, really difficult. All three of the Army of Two games slapped. There was a third one. My friend and I thought the second one was really, really disappointing and weak compared to the first one. We thought the first one was like amazing. And then we got into the second one, we're like, yuck. The hidden one is saying 8 days until Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake is announced. Oh, it's going to be next week, according to Insider Gaming. Do it. Lono's tips are amazing in that video. Did we make that a command? I think we made that a command, did we not? I feel like that should be a command. Returnal should be a command. Where if you're trying to get in Returnal, you should 100% watch my there it is. Want to get into Returnal? Watch the first 30 minutes of this live stream. Like Returnal Tuesdays or with Madam. Playing Returnal with Madam is certainly fun. I don't think it makes for the greatest stream because the game is just significantly harder when you do that. The game is significantly harder when you play co-op. It doesn't make for the best stream. We did it. I think we did it once or twice. Her and I beat the game. Don't have a super strong desire to do that again. Her and I are now grinding Sworn, not Scorn, but Sworn. Sworn, and we're really enjoying it. And we're close to actually beating King Arthur the legit way, where you have to do a boss rush before you fight him, and then he drinks the cup and turns into a dragon. And the first time that happened, we were like, huh? And we almost did it, and we were hanging on by a thread. When Saros drops, we need Saros Saturdays. I don't know about that. We'll have to see. Thou shalt watch Lono's Returnal video. It's a very good video. It's a very good video. It's helped a lot of people get into Returnal and beat it. What is Sworn? Sworn is a really, really solid Hades clone that you can play on console, co-op. Madam and I have been playing it. Let me get you guys, I'll show it to you here in a moment. Here we go. Find the Grail, restore Camelot. Very obviously Hades inspired. 4 different characters to play as. Each character has 4 weapons to choose from and 4 I can't think, magic abilities. So there's 4 weapons and 4 spells. That's it, 4 spells. There also happens to be 4 skill trees that you can invest in. Once you get the weapons, you can then upgrade the weapons with the one you saw, like a blacksmith there. Very, very fun game. I think it's very rewarding. I think the meta progression is quite good in Sworn. Madam and I are just absolutely cooking King Arthur now, and there's multiple difficulty levels. So we're at the starting difficulty. Once you beat King Arthur, you can increase the difficulty, which we tried, and then different bosses show up, which was fun, but it didn't seem worth the only extra 10% currency for how much more curses and difficulty was thrown at you when you upped the difficulty. We didn't quite think it was worth it. Up to 4-player co-op. I did not realize that. It's 1 to 4-player co-op. We've been playing, obviously, 2-player co-op. And there he is. There's King Arthur. And this is when you face him at the end. It's very, very, very good. Highly recommend it. Madam and I have thoroughly enjoyed our time with it, and we've gotten quite good. She's actually very good at the game. She's better at playing her life than I am. We have 25 hours in the game. She's much better at playing her life than I am. I'm terrible about that. I'm just too aggressive. I go in and I make greedy decisions constantly. Last night I started playing my life, and I structured my build around playing my life and relying on dodges, and it made a big difference. And there it is. We're 10 away from the next milestone. Thank you so much, Team Ambush, with 33 months. I appreciate it so much. Might have to start throwing down some gauntlets here. And because I currently owe you guys some members. If we get to 125, I'll owe another one. I probably should start doing the members as they roll in. That might help. I started stacking them and saving them, and that might be why we're taking a bit of a downturn there. I agree. Saros Saturday sounds awesome, says Haseo. Will we get to see you play Saros initially, or are you going to enjoy it yourself? Well, it doesn't look like I'm going to get a review copy. I basically can't get any PlayStation access. There's like a former Bungie person that is basically attached to somebody who is handling all of that. So I'm basically blacklisted there because of like my former issues with Bungie and that community. So I'm probably never going to get an early access to a PlayStation game, which is unfortunate because I love their studios and their games. But I will play it day one. I'm definitely going to be, getting back into the saddle with Returnal ahead of time to kind of get my reflexes and my chops back. I got to get back into my muscle memory. So we'll be doing that in the lead up, and then I'll definitely play it. I don't know if I'm going to try to do a bunch of Saros gameplay sessions and try to beat it. We did that with Returnal on stream, and it was a freaking blast, and I was really glad that we did it. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I'm vibing with it. Obviously, I don't think it's shipping with co-op, so Madam and I won't necessarily be able to do anything with it in the evenings either. We enjoy playing games like that together, but I doubt it's going to ship with co-op out of the box. So, yo, what's good, Hilly? Early 90s with the mate, says Edward, listening to great music and setting up leagues, smoking cannabis and taking other substances, and then going home to the girlfriend who had been out with her mates. Glorious days. The 90s. That's right. He's definitely playing Soros day one for us. He's code begging at the moment. I don't try to get review copies, right? I do not try to get review copies of games. It doesn't fit with the schedule. My evenings are very regularly booked, helping the kids with papers, coaching their soccer teams, stuff with friends, stuff with my church. I would need so much time to adequately review most games. But for a game like Soros, I would make adjustments to the schedule and shift things around, just because I'm such a huge fan of Housemarque. But we don't necessarily have a channel and like a content offering that is like reliant upon reviews. We just don't do that. That's just not a thing we've ever really been. I've never really been able to do that anyway. Because when I was a Destiny streamer, I kind of had to live in Destiny. I kind of had to be in there, all day, every day, kind of a thing. It's just one of those things where when you have like your main game, it can be really, really tough to make time for other games. So, about 5 years of Destiny was what we did. And it looks like 007 First Light's also going to be doing a limited edition DualSense controller with PlayStation. So you got that. You must be happy to not be a Destiny streamer with the state of the Bungie at the moment. I mean, we were always building ourselves alternatives for coverage. I was not going to stay a Destiny streamer all those years. That was not going to be a thing. So we were constantly thinking of ways to diversify and have other avenues of content. So back in the days, you got early access content for Destiny. That's not true. There was never a way to give people early access to content in Destiny. I'm not sure what you're talking about. That never happened. There wasn't a way to give people early access to Destiny content. It's a live service game. They couldn't be like, here, you can play Forsaken early. That never happened for anybody. That would have been completely counterproductive to the way the game flowed. Because of how you were like getting that kind of a head start and getting that kind of the ability to grind and stuff. Hang on, my wife sent me a calendar invite. Okay. We had a 3-year plan that we put into effect in 17 minutes. That was pretty much it. Zero chance that 007 gets Game of the Year. How'd you go from a Destiny streamer to this? We stopped covering Destiny. In like February of 2021, we stopped covering it. I could tell you're pivoting with the shoutcasting and stuff. Yeah, we had like show ideas. I launched like a network. It was called the SNTR Network. I was going to have like shows and segments that I did week to week. I saw where the streaming landscape was going. I kept telling people, I kept saying like, hey, it seems like live content is going to head towards a direction of being like high production value, curated segments, like named segments. It's going to become more of an avenue of entertainment. I knew that's where it was headed. So I started building for that. So I commissioned the SNTR network. I had show ideas, names. I had virtual studios being built. This is before like Doc and all those guys, were doing that kind of a thing. Now it's very standard that there's like virtual studios and segments and things like that. Like a lot of people started doing that. Not because of me. I just knew that's where things were headed. I was like, this medium is going to evolve in that direction. Yo, Jack, thank you so much for your Prime. I basically came up with all those ideas and did all that, and that was literally in the lead up in 2020. Like the first 6 months of 2020, that was what I was doing. I was shoutcasting, getting contracts, getting deals, and then launching a network and launching shows. So, Game of the Year is going to come down to RE9 and Control. RE9 and Control. Yeah, I mean, I think Saros might be in the mix with a nom, but I don't think Saros can necessarily win. Control Resonance looking good. Yeah, it's looking good. Check my last on the new UI. I'm digging into the PS5 UI, the store, the PS Plus, the library being their own tabs instead. Yeah, there's like a updated PlayStation UI. It really just seems to be changing the top like icons. It doesn't look that different to me. Yeah. Did you play Alan Wake 2? I played the opening hour. I think we streamed it, and I liked it. And then I started... I forget what happened. I started playing something else, and then when I went back to it, I had no idea what was happening. So... I couldn't remember. I was like, I'm going to have to start this game over from scratch. GTA 6 will be on the stage. It will not win. I think GTA 6 winning Game of the Year is going to come down to whether or not they can pull off all the technology and all the open world stuff that they're trying to push. I think that's going to be the fundamental question. If they can do that, I think they're a contender. If that stuff kind of falls flat and it doesn't really feel like it's transcended into a new era of GTA, then unlikely that it wins. It could win though, because if they pull off that idea, that feel, and that vibe of like a true dynamic emergent open world game, then I think it could win. There's always something else in the pipeline interrupting my current gameplays. Yeah, I haven't been able to go back to Darwin's Paradox. I've been too busy. Like, every time I've gone to play it, like, Madam's been coming down quicker in the evenings. Like, she's not upstairs doing other things. So she comes down, I'm like, let's just play Sworn. I'm like, I'm not going to make her sit there and wait and watch Darwin's Paradox. And then the afternoons have been kind of jammed. Like, yesterday I had a thing with my kids for their school. And then I came back and kind of had to plan the next day's show. By the time I'm done planning the next day's show, I got like no window. I'm like, oh, I don't have any time to play anything. So there was a time there where my schedule was really open, and every afternoon I was like grinding the latest game to add to like my completed list. Like Mio Memories in Orbit, I did that replay of Control, Crypt Custodian, Cairn, Resident Evil 9, Grind Survivors. I was grinding Ghost of Yotei Legends. Just a lot of that was in the afternoons. Chances of a Wolvie Game of the Year? I don't think so. I think superhero games really struggle in that department. I think superhero games, they commonly just don't enter someone's mind for Game of the Year. A lot of it has to do with story, the potency of like what you can do in a game like that. Like, how compelling of a story can you tell with Wolvie, I think it's very, very difficult. Ella Purnell's in something new. Let's see, what's this? Adria Ajorna, Ella Purnell, and Marissa Abella are going to play key roles in Man of Tomorrow. It will be Maxima, the warrior queen from the planet Almarak. I don't know what this is about. These look like screenshots from other games. I'm sorry, from other shows or other pieces of content. I don't know. Am I the only one who doesn't care about the GTA series? I think there's a lot of people who aren't really into GTA. I don't think you're in bad company. I mean, it's a very popular franchise, but there's plenty of people that are just like, yeah, I'm not really down with it, you know? GTA 6, Soros replaced. Resident Evil, Mortal Shell 2, Phantom Blade 0 are my guesses for nominations. I don't know about Mortal Shell 2. No, mama. When are we going to make those, by the way? I thought you got all the stuff. Oh my gosh. That doesn't even make any sense. Okay. Soros Replace could sneak up there and get a nom for sure. Replace could definitely sneak up there and get a nomination. I think Replace could be the India media darling this year. Like, so the way that like Mugenics and Slay the Spire 2, you know, took over and like everybody was playing and everybody was talking about it, I think Replaced is going to have a more enduring effect on the conversation. We're not addressing Pocopia. Yeah, oh yeah, Pocopia is definitely going to get a bunch of noms too. That one's out of the frame for me. It doesn't call to me in the least. But yeah, Pocopia is definitely going to be in there for sure. But yeah, I could see Replaced having a more enduring effect on the conversation. The way that like Expedition 33 kept getting talked about. It wasn't like Expedition 33 had like this amazing release and then it was like, okay, cool. Like Slay the Spire 2 and Mugenics are already kind of out of the frame. Like nobody's really talking about them. That I'm not saying that as a negative. That's normal. That's totally normal. People always try and cite those as negatives. That's not a negative. Oh, Man of Tomorrow is the new Superman. Secondary villain will reportedly be Maxima. Oh, I forgot that the new Superman was going to be called Man of Tomorrow. Pocopia sits at a 90 and will definitely get a nom. Yes. Kirby Air Riders will get delayed, a delayed game of the year and finally get its flowers. There is the possibility that Kirby Air Riders finally gets its day. There's always the potential that happens. Yes. Oh man. Okay. I love Pocopia. I have almost 300 hours in it already. Pragmata drops soon. Pragmata could certainly come out of left field. It really, really could. Like, people could be like, hey, this is another Capcom banger. Like, I mean, Capcom's been just kind of hitting the ball out of the park fairly regularly. What DLC will get a Game of the Year nomination? My guess is No Man's Sky. Yeah, that's a thing that we do now. We give DLCs Game of the Year nominations. Oh, man. Looks like the main thing in the headlines is just the 007 controller and the 007 not controller, I'm sorry, 007 getting delayed on Switch. Addendum to this video, both PS5 Pro ray tracing modes do feature some environmental ray tracing reflections on very glossy transparent surfaces. These tend to be tucked away on concession machines and certain doorways and don't generally apply to larger transparent faces like building windows. So it's limited reflection. So Ollie's making an addendum to their coverage here and saying there are some ray tracing reflections in the PS5 Pro ray tracing mode. The modes themselves, the ray tracing modes, I should say, the PS5 Pro ray tracing modes, because there's a couple versions of it. So there are some reflections, but they're not everywhere. They're not as visible because it's not like they're on like the big huge faces of surfaces and things like that. My guess is Starfield will get a nom this year for a PS5 release. That won't happen. Okay. 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 I got it. If they ever put DLC in Game of the Year again, I'm completely done with Game of the Year. Won't even watch it. Just watch the trailers separate later. I don't think they're gonna do that ever again. I think I don't know. I don't think people even agreed with it. The people that defended it, I don't even think they generally believe what they were saying. I think everybody knew it was ridiculous that the Elden Ring DLC was Game of the Year worthy. The people that argued for it, I didn't even feel like they believed what they were saying. It was ridiculous. It was like, this isn't a game. It isn't. Like it didn't deserve a Game of the Year nomination. I think they should do what other games have done, which is you create a category for DLC, and then it gets praised and awarded for what it is, not something that it isn't. They even joked about it at the awards. I don't remember that. Way too performative even for Jeff. Yeah, just do a DLC category. They do a DLC category at the Golden Joystick Awards, and to me it just makes perfectly good sense. It's like, yeah, you just have a category because, like, let's say you have something that is really impressive and incredible, like Phantom Liberty, or in that case, the Elden Ring DLC. Well, in those instances, those should be praised for what they are. They're really, really impressive DLCs. They shouldn't be praised for something that they're not. Like, this is an amazing game. No, it's not. It's not a game. I don't know. It just seemed like such a weird debate. It shouldn't even have been happening in the first place. Should there be a limit on the Labor of Love Award? I feel like No Man's Sky wins every year. Labor of Love Award? What award are you talking about? There's one called Labor of Love. You mean like ongoing game? Or there's community support, there's ongoing game, there's a couple of different categories. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think we will need only 5 slots again going forward for the foreseeable future. Yes, I think that's probably generally true. It's almost always going to be 6 Game of the Year nominations. Outside of Game of the Year, Hilly says, I don't think Jeff's show puts too much thought into anything else. The Year Satisfactory wasn't nominated was a joke, and then having DLC on the top award just told me the show isn't about the awards anymore. Yeah, I don't agree. I don't think it's that extreme. I think that the Elden Ring thing was weird, and I agreed with you the year that Satisfactory didn't get nommed. It felt kind of strange, but Jeff doesn't have control over what people do with their nominations. I almost feel like, let's ignore the DLC in Game of the Year category. Okay, let's ignore that for a second. Let's just look at the Satisfactory thing. Satisfactory didn't get a nom. I think it not getting a nom is a good demonstration of the fact that, like, Jeff doesn't meddle with the results or do anything, because more than likely something like that only is going to happen when you actually have an award ceremony that's not being fiddled with. Does that make sense? Like, nobody was like, hey man, you guys need to make sure that you're considering all games. Like, it was like, no, that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. Like, that's an emergence from the market. Just for whatever reason, the review outlets and the critics just weren't paying much attention to Satisfactory, and just opted to say, hey, all these other games are going to get nommed or whatever. You know what I mean? Sounds like a gold star award. Yeah, he didn't elaborate on his position. I don't know what he's talking about. This year we don't have a front runner for Game of the Year. Yeah, we don't really have a front runner. I mean, I think I agree with that. I think until we see GTA 6 in action, it's hard to know, if anybody can be the front runner. I definitely think that this year we're going to have to listen to all of, like, the Crimson Desert fanboys, bemoan the fact that it got snubbed. We're going to have to go through that again. People that think their game is something more than it is, and mad when nobody else seems to recognize it. Like, I definitely think that's going to happen. The issue is a small group pick stuff, and I don't think half of them know what they're doing anymore. I don't feel like debating the jury process of the Game Awards, because I feel like most people say things like what you just typed that I don't think are represented by the facts. Like, you don't have to like the Game Awards, the results, or the process, but I feel like so much is said about the Game Awards that isn't rooted in, like, what actually happens. It's not a small group. It's a pretty large group. But I just don't have the energy to debate that anymore, because I just don't care. It's a fun event, and there's a lot of folks involved in the voting. You feel like it's clearly RE9? I feel like maybe currently RE9 is the leader. Like, but again, until we see GTA 6 in action, it's extremely hard to know. The trailers are the best part. As a spectacle, yes, definitely getting to see big announcements and, like, surprise announcements and things like that. I think my favorite thing in the recent years is that a lot of guys aren't spoiling the events anymore. They're not saying. There was a time where it was like every event you were sort of like on pins and needles. You were like, man, these guys came out and ruined the surprise. And then nobody got to have, like, that fun moment, and we were like, we're all in this together and have, like, these fun surprises. Like, I actually like that a lot of the insiders and a lot of the leakers haven't been doing that lately. They're just like, they're zipped up. They're like, nope, we're not going to say anything. I've appreciated that in recent years. So, yeah. All right, well, we're going to go to Green Room, guys. I appreciate all the support and coverage. If you want to come to the Green Room, you got to be a member. This is a way to extend your day. I got some other things going on today, so we're gonna go ahead and just go to Green Room now. Appreciate all that you guys do for the channel. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and all the things on the way out. And for those of you that are a member, make sure you're using your membership. Whether you're a sub on Twitch or a membership on YouTube, you can get into the Discord. So thank you guys so much for being here.